Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another wonderful tasting of the Virtual Tasting Society. Today, we're excited to welcome back one of our favorite people in the industry. Jesse Parker is the master blender for Doc Swinson's. It is a brand that, in my opinion, does something better than most in the American whiskey market. They're not just sourcing MGP, putting their sticker on it, and sending it out as their own. They are finishing, they're blending, they're doing fun things to make it a different product than it started, which to me is much better than, hey, you got lucky and picked a fun barrel. That said, Jesse here is the mastermind, the evil genius, or not evil, but the wonderful genius behind the
Sometimes.
scenes, the wizard of Doc Swinson's. Thank you very much for making the time for us this evening. Last time we had you on, you were receiving awards in, gosh, what was it, Louisiana or somewhere?
Louisiana. Yeah, I think so. Or Brooklyn. No, it was Louisiana. Yeah.
You were somewhere getting an
It was
award. We pulled
warm.
you away from the award ceremony and you were there to talk to us. So that worked out. Today it looks like you're in your office, so a little less stressful. You are
Yes.
not on a workout machine, so that's
No.
good. Unless you're sitting on like something in your office like that. But that
No.
said, we're
No.
excited. We're happy to have you back. Thank you so much for making the time and joining us. We have six new expressions from Doc Swinson's.
Woo.
I know we have a lot of OGs in the room, some people that know the brand well, but maybe some people who aren't as familiar. So if you want to give us a few words about yourself, about the brand, and then what order we should taste these expressions in, the floor is yours.
Sweet. Sounds good. Vadim, thank you so much for having me on again. It's so great to see so many familiar faces. I love this. Like I said, I haven't done one of these in a little while. We've been so busy on one end, and I feel like I don't see as many tasting groups as I used to. So the world's changing. But hey, we're all still here, and that's what matters. Um, But yes, as Vadim said so gracefully, I am the master blender of Doc Swinson's, one of the co-founders here, on this fun curiosity journey in our lives, making really fun whiskeys. And it's only getting more crazy, to be honest with you. I've got more and more things stacked up in the back that are just so waiting to be put in a bottle and released into market, which I'm excited to share a little bit of information about. So feel free, of course, to ask. Um, and I mean, like Vadim said, our whole thing is taking fairly standard American whiskey mash bills and blending them in such a way that it showcases particular flavor profiles that may not be typically recognized in that profile usually found from that distillery, which I think is really fun. And then, of course, finishing them in casks from around the world, augmenting our American whiskeys with some beautiful flavor profiles that we just don't always find here in the States. Something that was actually kind of common in my childhood was tasting all these different kind of spirits and wines from abroad from my grandparents and incorporating them mostly on ice cream. So don't be afraid to do that. I always like to tell people, always put it on ice cream. That's what my grandmother used to tell me, and that's where a lot of these finished cash profiles came into play, actually. So it's kind of beckons back to that time in my life, and just bring it all into existence through Doc Swenson's. Um, yeah, that's kind of where we are. As far as the lineup goes here today, I have six bottles in front of me. Is that correct? Okay, good. Just want to make sure. A couple of them, some of us have probably seen before in the past, like Triple Cask. Triple Cask was our flagship that really built this brand after we released that 15-year Kentucky whiskey. Everybody's still guessing where it came from. Um, I know it wasn't Heaven Hill, I can tell you that. So I'll knock one off your list if you're still looking. Um, Anyways, we have Session Blend, which I don't think we've tasted on this with this group, you guys yet, right? Okay,
I think
sweet, cool.
it's fairly new, so I don't think we've had it yet.
Yeah, Session was is built very differently than the other ones, and I'll dive into that in a little bit, which I think should be the first one we actually try tonight because it's a nice palate acclimator, especially for those of you who might not have tried or had any whiskey to this point in the day. It's also the lowest proof, and it's a straight whiskey. Then, of course, I think we should dive into Triple Cask. I have it lined up as Bottled and Bond next, then Muscatel, Finnish Bourbon, then Golden Hour, and then Summer Retreat.
I don't have all those names you just said. They
They
don't
Well,
matter.
might, they
Jane
might,
will toss the list into the chat in a second. There you go.
yeah, sometimes they come under slightly different names, but they should all be there.
Yeah, except I don't know which one's which. So
Uh-oh. What do the labels on your side say?
I've got straight bourbon, bib rye, alter ego triple cask,
It's
Yep.
golden
in
hour
the chat.
rye.
Look in
What?
the chat, Jim.
I can't get into the chat, sweetie. I wish I knew how. Can't seem to get there.
Okay. Straight bourbon, alter ego triple cask, BIB rye, exploratory cask muscatel, golden hour rye, summer retreat rye. Those are the labels.
Yeah.
Where was straight bourbon?
First,
First,
First one.
Okay. All right.
yeah, the
Think
labels are only so big, y'all.
Yeah,
I
I realized my design skills kind of made it really difficult for 50 ml bottles. I still am designing those labels. I haven't even gotten there yet.
it's funny to me that you're the one designing those. Don't you? Didn't you guys hire a guy for design?
Yeah, he's not that great. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Ouch.
No, it's hard when you build something yourself from ground up to relinquish some certain things. So I gave up on production, meaning I passed that on, which I'm production meaning the physical bottling and maintenance of the equipment side. I now no longer run that side of the company. That's somebody else, which has freed me up to work on development, blends, and marketing and branding a lot more. Things have changed a little bit over here. That's why you don't see the bottling line behind me anymore. That's a different building. It's a 2 minute walk that way, but it's a different building now. I get to be around all my barrels now, which I'm much more happy with. Um, yeah, the first whiskey we're going to taste though is called Session Blend. It is a straight bourbon whiskey. It is a blend of the two classic high rye mash bills from MGP, the 36 and the 21 for those of you who are familiar with their mash bills. So pretty high in the rye category. It is different than Blender's Cut, which some of you probably had the last time we all got together. Blender's Cut is a 115 proof blend of the two mash bills with a higher concentration of rye, closer to 28%. This one is closer to 24, 25%, just depending on how the blend turns out. Um, so a little more corn in this one. It was designed specifically because Steve, well, famous Steve and my CFO, Chris, wanted me to develop something that was a little more bar friendly, meaning price friendly, right? And it was more versatile for cocktails, because in the end, that's where you build your brand is in a bar. And that's not where the rest of Doc Swinson's really shine, because it's expensive, um, respectively, right? So I built this one with the whole idea. I'm pouring myself one as well. Um, I built this blend with the whole idea being surrounded by the fact that it needed to mix well in a cocktail, yet still be bold enough and flavorful enough while drank straight that you want to enjoy it and pick it up again, which is something I found lacking in this price point on the shelf in most cases. And that's where Session Blend came to light. And honestly, I wish you all were a lot closer because I would have had you all come to help me build this blend. It was a riot. We took over a bar multiple times, like a quite popular, really nice little cocktail bar in town, and would invite about 25 people each time. And even I was blind tasted. I wasn't even allowed to know what products or which whiskeys were in which cocktails. But it was an old fashioned, a Manhattan, and a sour, classically made with Four Roses small batch, Bullet, High West, Wild Turkey 81, and of course this. And what we would do is we all were given tokens and we were able to vote on which cocktail and which bourbon in each cocktail without knowing which one it was. And we did this over and over again. And each time I learned from the notes of everybody drinking it what they thought of each whiskey and how it worked in each cocktail. And then I would redesign my blend to try and beat myself or the other competition each time. We got to a point where unanimously, every time we did it, this one won the category in each cocktail. And that's how this was actually born. And it was really fun. Basically, by the end of the night, we were all having a great time and needed to go get pizza down the street. But it is a 90 proof, so it's a little bit it's a really great palate acclimator to get us into everything else as well. And really kind of showcases what you can do with a nice 5 year MGP high rye or two.
And it's 33 at K&L. Is that MSRP or is that a deal?
That should be MSRP.
Right.
Keep in mind, I'm in Washington. Everything here is twice the price. So, well, liquor wise.
Your sales tax is insane.
Yeah, this is a $50 bottle in our tasting room. And
Dr.
it's,
Seuss, Jesse, are we rhyming everything today?
I guess so.
Twice the price, everything wise.
It's just what Doc Swinson's doing to me right now.
And I remember I was in Spokane for a week and I went to a distillery there.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, can I buy a bottle?" They're like, "Matt, where do you live?" I was like, "LA." They're like, "Buy when you get home. Trust me." I was
yeah.
like, "Wow, oh, okay, that's pretty cool of you." But yeah,
We get a lot of, I mean, honestly, that's great for them to say that. I mean, not that I don't want to support our own tax system, but this is ridiculous. It is cheaper. I can fly to, yeah, California, woohoo, and pick this up for, well, like you said, 30 something bucks out the door. This is at least $50 here. Honestly, I can have it shipped from California for cheaper than I could buy it at the grocery store across the street or my own tasting room. But if you like other things, Washington's nice. What are we all picking up on this one?
get a nice round caramel note in the middle.
Mhm.
It it doesn't have the proof, but it still has legs. Like it's not just dying off, which is nice. Um, I mean, I definitely you told the story, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I no notes. I see what you're doing here. I like that.
Yep, I mean, the idea for this whiskey in my mind was to give a more average, like whiskey drinkers experience to it, meaning like people who just like go out and buy Bullet, for example, and that's their nice whiskey, they would dig this. They would really dig this and be like, ooh, this is that next step that I could really enjoy with a little bit more to it, a little more body, a little more flavor, a little more depth of character. That I'm also not afraid to mix in a cocktail. That was the goal of it. Like we want you to take this home and bust this out with your friends and make a bunch of drinks with it. We actually started because we opened a tasting room pretty recently. We started doing some mini cocktails, and we do one called the Electric Cowboy that's specifically built around this. And I kid you not, is this um, it's 2 ounces of this with an ounce of or a squeeze of lime, sorry, a squeeze of lime, and a half of an ounce to an ounce worth of either Campari or Aperol, depending if you like it sweet or more bitter. And Jarrito's grapefruit soda or Squirt works. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's absolutely delicious. And it moves this whiskey off the shelves in summertime like crazy because it's actually refreshing. I know we're getting to fall, so we're looking into different kind of cocktails from there. But it's been such a crowd pleaser. We've hosted it at several large events on the West Coast, among like tequila cocktails, gin cocktails, and vodka cocktails during the summer. And we have in every single event we've done it at, and these were like big, like 5,000 to 10,000 people. The Electric Cowboy has almost sold twice as many as any other one, which is crazy. Also, the name's pretty cool, so I think that's partly part of it. So that's why all the bottles have funky names now.
Yeah, but I've always liked that about you guys. You guys always have always had funky names.
Yeah, it's because we don't have to make a board happy. It's just us. It's still just us guys. There's well, five of us now because of the marketing guy.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, yeah. It makes it a little easier just to say, hey, this is a funny name. This seems to fit. Let's do this. This is delicious. Let's put it in a bottle. And we're still like that. It hasn't been taken over, which is nice.
And so this is meant to be the more easily approachable version of
Yeah,
Blender's Cut, right? Because
correct.
Blender's Cut.
Yeah. Yeah, Blender's Cut, I mean, for those of you who've had it, you might remember it. But it's, I mean, significantly more bold, intense, but also it arguably doesn't usually even drink quite even almost as hot as this one for a lot of people, which is kind of interesting. Mostly because you don't have the water to dilute down the viscosity. Um, but giving somebody that's kind of newer at drinking whiskeys usually aren't too keen on 115 proof, that's for sure. Or they don't want to mix it in a cocktail and they save it. And, it's like that special bottle kind of thing. And I mean, special bottles are great. That's obviously what we mostly produce here. But to help grow that side of the business, it's nice to build something that's a little more approachable, both nice or financially, as well as like less intimidating on the palate. Something that's just really easy to drink that you can understand. I mean, it really, like you said, showcases on that nice caramel. I mean, like I know it sounds stupid, but that it has a really gorgeous caramel, like slight cacao, like bitter chocolate profile in there, and vanilla. I mean, it's it's simple in that way, but it does it really well. And that works extremely well for bar programs. People aren't afraid to use it. And that's what it was built for. That's why I called it session too. It's kind of a joke because all of our other whiskeys were such higher proofs that you couldn't session them, with your friends. You'd be trashed, basically, if you tried to. So we called this one session blend specifically because we wanted to just have people be able to just grab that bottle, enjoy, kill the bottle over the campfire with some friends kind of thing, or not be afraid to, pour this in cocktails, when they invite friends over. That was the whole purpose behind it. Um, and create a little bit of a leader, in the bar world. So, which it's been doing well, especially in California, actually. So, um, yeah, California, Arizona have really taken on to this product. We've been producing in quite a few barrels of it, and still 5 year, which is nice.
So I guess that means then it's going to be part of the core lineup then, as far as
Yeah,
like
so
having it.
we're gonna kind of alter. We're still deciding on some of how we want to reconfigure our core line versus Expo line. But this will be the primary flagship of the core line. This and triple cask. Those are, and I think I might develop a version that's a rye version of this, so similar price point, a little bit lower proof point, non-finished. I'm still in the works with that, and that one might include some of that pumpernickel rye too, which is kind of fun in the blend. So it pops a little extra kick to it, which makes it great for Manhattan in particular. Um, but our core line, I think, is going to shrink, and then everything's just else is just going to be exploratory. Solera, which is something we used to talk about in core line a lot, which is the rum finished rye. That I've been pulling on it so irregularly, meaning only once to maybe twice a year, if that, that it's now a 9 year to 12-year-old whiskey blend. And that's just going to turn into expos because I don't even want to give it away at this rate. It's so tasty. Um, so that'll also be expo. So basically, Coreline's going to shrink down to just, 2 to 3 products max, and then everything else is going to be expoed. Yeah. You ready for the next one?
Yeah, yeah. I already poured the alter ego.
Oh, perfect. Great. So this is one that probably will, if you haven't had it in a while, will probably invoke some memories again of the last time we all hung out or last time you cracked this bottle. Triple Cask is still our number one seller. It was really our flagship that built Doc Swinson's as a whole. It's the one that really got us into finishing. So back in 2017, I started developing Triple Cask. Um, Originally, it just started as a single cask. It was Oloroso finish sherry bourbon, and then I got the Pedro Jimenez casks in the second round because I wanted a little bit more sweetness on the back end, a little bit more cocoa flavor, and I wanted to just grab on your tongue a little bit more, and that's what that Pedro Jimenez sherry does such a beautiful job of. And then of course it needed something to tie the Oloroso and the Pedro Jimenez together a little bit more. So like focusing, getting the like toasted nut and citrus profile to connect with the chocolate and like dark fruits and toffee together. And the cognac profile did a really good job of that. So once again, it wasn't designed to be like, oh, this is obviously cognac. It was really designed to help bridge the gap between the Oloroso and the sherry. And it just happens to do a really great job at it. Honestly, those 3 cast types just they're easy to work with. They could be a little forgiving, which is nice. Um, and they just taste grand. Probably since we've met, this has done quite well in the whole award circuit thing, which is wonderful. It was like named one of 10 whiskey or 10 spirits in the world to ever get in the Legacy Award winner with Cigar and Spirit magazine, which was a fun win for us. And I think only 3 American whiskeys have ever done it, which is still pretty amazing. But this is one of them. It's a 95.8 proof. And it's when it comes to finishing these, it's never based upon how long with any of my casks, how long they're in the cask. It's what do they taste like before they get blended together. And that is the most important thing in this whole process to keep in mind is, people always ask like, well, has it 45 days? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? It's what the cask is showing me. Some casks only need a few months. Some casks might need a year. Some casks I still have aging and it's been over 6 years and they're not quite where I want them to be. Or they're used as an augmenter because they have too much of that characteristic in them. And I could use just a little bit to bolster up the other profiles. This is I mean, this whole process is really just like paying attention to your cooking. Don't over season it. Don't under season it. Develop it and taste it as you go. And I think that's what this is the product that really taught me how how to pay attention to my casks more than I any other product ever has. Um, it's what I'm clearly proud of. Triple cask.
So, question for you, Jesse. Then, like two part. Like, how do you keep from, I guess, burning your palate out too quickly when you start to taste these different expressions, these different barrel finishes, and this and that? And like, how do you keep your senses sharp so that way you can taste the subtleties in each one?
I mean, I think there's several good ways to do that. One, take breaks. Seriously, I take a lot of breaks. I don't develop a product in a day. It's super rare that something like that happens. Or even blend an existing product in a day. Oftentimes, it takes me weeks, if not months, before I put my stamp of approval to even move it into the next process. And what that means is it's paying attention to myself. So it's understanding that okay, is my palate tired today? Am I pissed off at something? Am I happy? What have I been eating well? All those things contribute, right? Your mood, how you woke up, how you slept, whatever's going on in your brain is going to affect your palate. That is fairly well proven. And being aware of it in each one of those situations that come your way and retasting, and then going against a batch marker is something that I do consistently throughout our entire process. And when I start to burn my palate out, I generally just say, "Hey guys, we're gonna push the bottling off of this a little while because I need to be able to step up to the plate, right? Like if I ever sign off on something because my palate is tired, I am not doing my job. This is the thing I wanted to do. I'm doing a disservice to myself. I am just doing a disservice to you. I'm doing a disservice to my company. And that's nothing that we want here. Um, we're very keen on that, and I love that about us. Um, I think more or less it's really taking care of myself so I don't burn out. I take a lot of breaks. I mostly just drink at work. You can imagine. And it's just a little bit. I focus on one particular thing in a day, and I'll just spend time with it. And then the rest of the day is going to be paperwork or doing something physical out there, moving some barrels or sometimes just getting out of here. And it's really just keeping your mind clear of all the chatter that's going on in life as best as you can, and just allowing yourself to pay attention to what's in front of you for that, being present for that period of time. And that sounds ridiculous, but that's such a big part of it. And then recognizing when your palate is burned out. When it is burned out, it's time to take a break. I usually need to experience something else. Usually it's like through cooking. I really like to cook. Um, or like sniffing around the garden, for example, and experiencing different profiles. Um, it's just get yourself out of the thing that you maybe have to be doing and doing something else. It's just rewiring your brain for something else, and then you can come back to it. I don't know if that totally answers your question, but it's probably the best thing that I do is take a break.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, just being present, honestly, is the biggest thing. It does happen. I actually experienced that fairly recently, where like the last 2 months, my palate was pretty burned out. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go do something else. So I did. I didn't touch whiskey for almost a month, which is crazy. And now it's all back. I'm stoked about it. So it's just go to do something else. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Also, having an assistant helps for the record. Having someone you could bounce your ideas off of is amazing. I do have an assistant now, which is wonderful. I think since last we all chatted. And being able to, he's extremely talented at what he's doing. And, we've worked together for almost 4 years doing this, 3.5 years, something like that, doing this. And being able to bounce ideas off each other to check each other is really important. So if you got a friend that you do this with, which clearly you all do, taste something that you're all familiar with. Be like, oh, let's pull out that bottle of whatever you all have and let's taste it. And what are we recalling? What are we tasting? Does that sound normal to us? Are we off? And I think that's a really good check and balance that helps us here a lot. Him and I will both be like, nah, this is a little tinier than normal. Maybe one of us is sick and we just don't know it yet, or it's coming on, like a cold is coming on. That is really noticeable. If it's off to you in general, you probably start recognizing you're like, oh, I need to move on and do something different for a bit, or maybe I'm getting sick or I'm dehydrated. That's a big one for people. So
I've had days like that when we try to do a barrel pick or something, and I come in, I'm just like, I've been stressed at work. It's just not my day. Everything tastes bad. Like it's just not my day. I'm gonna take a day off. Then have a
Yeah.
White Claw. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. Drink a soda. Just drink a soda or, drink a lot of water. Hydrate yourself, get some good sleep, and start over again. It's a lot easier. My dad did a good job of teaching me that as a kid. He was a contractor, would build houses, and every time if you have to cut something more than 3 times when I was a kid, you should just quit for the day, is what he always said. Because one, you're costing yourself money, and two, you're just gonna mess it up again. So like, go take a break. Just get out of your mind and do something different, and come back to it, and you'll probably be refreshed. You'll usually solve the problem. So
Mm.
unless you have COVID, then I don't know, you're kind of screwed for a little bit.
This alter ego is so easy to drink, and it's so complex too. So many flavors.
This is a fun one. This is where like this particular product is also where I really fell in love with large format cask maturation. So almost all of our finished casks, not all, but a good chunk of them are in that like 450 to 600 liter range. So 2.5 to 3 times the size of a standard bourbon barrel. And I think that really couples well with where we're located here in the Northwest. I mean, we're literally on the Canadian border, right south of Vancouver, BC. That's the closest major city to right where I'm sitting. And it's the only place in the United States that is almost identical to like Speyside, Scotland, as far as weather goes, and also parts of Ireland. And what do they do really well there? I mean, this is what helped build Doc Swinson as a brand, the whole concept for it, is they do a great job at maturing whiskeys and distilling whiskeys. So why not adapt the pro or the styles of maturation there to American whiskeys? And that really is, in an essence, what the basis of Doc Swinson's is based on. And so it's taking a lot of those techniques and um, a lot of times it's using, for example, sherry butts, large format casks. So I started there and just developed it from there. And in most cases, and we have casks that are up to, gosh, I think the largest I have here is almost 7,000 liters. They'll fit a car in them, a small car, like a Mini Cooper, but it'll still fit in there, And the whole idea behind that is it's I really wanted Doc Swinton's to have a more gentle finish. In most of my whiskeys, it's a more gentle finish. It's less. This is obviously port. This is obviously sherry or obviously cognac. That wasn't my goal. You should go buy cognac if you want to taste cognac. You should go buy sherry if you want to drink sherry. If you want to taste whiskey that has some awesome flavors layered into it, buy Doc Swinson's. And obviously, there's other brands that do a good job of that too. We're not the only ones for certain. But that was the whole, in essence, what I wanted to build as Doc Swinson's because it's about using these other casks to layer in complexity like you would find in a Scotch or an Irish whiskey. It is still uniquely Irish whiskey or Scotch whiskeys, right? It's not sherry, but sherry does a beautiful thing to it. I think in essence that's really what I try and align with here at Docs. Now there's a couple in here that will just kind of go out there because why not test my own boundaries, right? See what else we could develop, see what other kind of market we can hit, and see what people are really interested in, including ourselves.
What's most interesting to me is just the two we've tried so far have been different and interesting enough to where it's worth having both, right? A lot of times you taste a bourbon distillery that does like a 5, a 7, a 9, and a 10 year, and you're like, there's progression, but it's the same thing over like I'll just get the most expensive one and call it a day. Here, they're both different. They're both worthy of a spot on the shelf.
Yeah, and they're made from the exact same barrels initially.
Yeah.
You
So
know what I
the
mean? It's the
juice is
same
the same.
mash bills from the same
Yeah.
places and roughly the same age frames. Triple cast tends to have some 6 years sprinkled into it and even up to 7, but realistically, it's not that big of a difference as far as the base profile. A little bit higher rye. Triple cast is directly based upon um, Blender's Cut, just so you guys know. So if any of you have Blender's Cut, you can try them side by side. Now they won't taste the same, but that is the very base that goes into triple cask. That's why I built Blender's Cut for y'all, is because I wanted you to taste what I was working with before it went into the finishing casks. And you have water at home, so you can add water if you want. um, but yeah, no, Vidim, that's a really great point that I always kind of forget to bring up is because like since we've even opened our tasting room, we really love that comment. It happens here a lot. People are like, wow, I can actually taste all 5 of these are so uniquely different. And that's great because otherwise, what are you going to buy? I mean, we want you to understand that each one of these are uniquely different based upon how we've blended it or what we finished it in. And I think that that's a real testament to our technique and what we like to do here. Making sure you have a unique experience with every single bottle you have, and in hopes that you like them all, but hopefully you love one or two of them at least.
Yeah, I think for me, that's kind of what really kind of solidified me as a super fan from the beginning was everything I tasted was different, but it was also very good. And I could share it with people. I'd be like, oh my God, that's different. But it's
Yeah,
also really good at the same time. So
it's
it's a really
helpful.
nod for you guys and how well you've sort of paced yourself releasing stuff and kind of like the slogan, right? Bottle when ready.
Yep.
It's always been the thing, right? Always bottle when ready.
Yep. Yeah. That's been such a piece of our identity. And we really do. There are barrels sometimes out there where I've worked on a blend and I'm like, yeah, that's not quite right. And it's like, no, let's not bottle it. A finished cast. Maybe I pushed my own boundaries too far and it's a little over finished. So now I want to work it into something else in the future, but we'll never just bottle it if we don't all agree on it. Myself including and everybody else here that has the authority to do that. And that goes all the way down to our bottling line team, honestly. We all get to taste things and say, no, this is good. This is where we want it. Or, ooh, I'd like to buy a bottle of that. And it's good to have that kind of input from your entire team and backup from your entire team. So yeah, only bottled when ready. The only reason why we started putting age statements on anything in the first place is because the market really wanted it. In all honesty, we didn't put them on one because we couldn't with finished products, right? So that was a big barrier. But once that even became a thing, we didn't initially put them on until people started really be wanting to know that information. And we thought, okay, we'll give it to you. Which is hence why a lot of the labels now look more like this. They have an age statement on them for the youngest in the blend, um, which is understandable. That's how a lot of the industry knows if something's worth something, right? What do they always say? It was $10 a year. That was the old joke. But it's not the age. It's what you like is what matters and what's in the bottle. There's plenty of old stuff I've had. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. This is not for me. In hopes that it made it in a bottle being really old, I hope it's really good because you probably paid a lot of money for it. Yeah, well, I haven't
And,
tried cask in a while either. So
and now I feel like for us, having tried whiskey from all over the world, that like number is so, yes, the higher the better for some things, but that
yeah,
number is
totally.
so kind of loses all meaning because you start talking about Israeli or Taiwanese whiskey and you're like, well,
Yeah.
5 years in, all it is oak. There's nothing left. Like it's all evaporated.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I guess there's a base argument to that point, right? You could say if they're all from Kentucky, if it's in these age frames, it might be a better indicator of the quality. And once again, you can argue that apart if you want to. But yeah, to that point, like, we're aging half of our stocks here in Washington. They don't taste at all like what they taste like in Kentucky.
Yep.
And then to your point, Taiwan, Texas. Look, Texas has nothing to do with Kentucky. They taste completely different.
Yep.
A 3-year whiskey is going to taste quite different than you'd find in the
We
Midwest.
just did a tasting with a
Really?
brand that aged the same stock in Kentucky and Texas, and they did them side by side. And I think Texas won. If I was not on that tasting. Does anybody remember if Texas won? Jane would remember. So like to compare that to aging something in Washington, it would be a totally different like beast.
Yeah, I mean the whole reason why, Woodinville even, right? They're aging their whiskey on the east side of the state. I mean, Washington's pretty diverse in that way, right? We have a high desert and then we also have this rainforest climate where we are in.
Yeah.
And then specifically in this little part of Washington where I'm based is very, like I said, very similar to Speyside, which is the only place in the country like that. So it has a completely different microenvironment. And of course, the warehouses and, we can get down to the nitty gritty, but overall, yeah, the environment really makes the difference. And that's why we like the dual aging thing, right? I mean, this is a great place for maturation because I can allow my whiskeys to sit in those casks for a longer period of time than most other people can in the country while receiving less of the impact from the specific spirit from the finishing cask, while so being more delicate, right? And also still receiving more oxygen through the pores in that cask over a longer period of time, which builds structure. So it's something that's really unique to us that I really enjoy. If I were to recreate this in somewhere else in the country, it would probably taste quite a lot different, is the point. And so we really could build on the structure of our whiskeys And therefore the mouthfeel is for a lot of that here in the Northwest, while remaining or getting less impact from the primary characteristics of the cask, for example, which is pretty cool. Not many
Yeah.
people claim that.
And I really like how you're focused on quality and not shortcuts. And not to say it in a bad way, but you know how like younger brands tend to be like, oh, we're gonna throw it into a smaller cask in a hotter environment so that it's ready to go in 2, 3 years, right? Versus now that you guys are established and you've been doing this for a while, you're specifically getting a bigger cask. You're trying to get less that speed influence and more
Yep.
of that complexity and you essentially the same thing as you know a bottle of scotch that's 30-year-old will have less alcohol. It'll be bottled at 46% cask strength, and you're like, that's just concentrated flavor, and it's
Yep.
really amazing, right? So to that point, you're not trying to make it, you're not trying to rapid age. You're trying to do just slow,
Oh,
low and slow, right? Everybody,
oh my gosh.
like how everybody likes their barbecue.
Yeah, hey, if we could use that term, we would, but I'm pretty sure somebody else would come after us. Um, Yeah, I mean, honestly, that is a big part of it. And I think that speaks to all of us here at the company. Once again, it's just a couple of us. This was a pet project, honestly, that just kind of got bigger, which we're very stoked about. And it's taken up, it's actually makes up the majority of our company at this rate, for certainly effort, that's for sure. Um, and it was nice not to have to ever have that have that conversation of, oh, crap, we need to make this more profitable. We can just keep doing what we're doing and making really good whiskeys. And that's primarily because we have a whole other side of our company that focuses on really making the money, which is nice. That doesn't really, I mean, it definitely drives Doc Swinson. Don't get me wrong, this is a business, but that's not the primary driver of Doc Swinson's. This is because we wanted to build something that we were proud of. This is why our names are signed on every one of these bottles. We're really proud of something that we can generally afford. That was another big thing for us. With the exception of, I think, one release we've ever put out, which was like $450 a bottle or $350 a bottle. And that was just because there was like 200 bottles in existence and it was a 16-year bourbon.
Yeah, the forgotten one.
Yeah, the old forgotten one. Yeah, even
Yeah.
I've forgotten where that cask went. And I'm just kidding. It's in the back. It's almost 20 years old now. Can you believe that? I still have some. Um, But other than that, like the whole idea was we wanted to make really good whiskeys that we believe are affordable for their quality and what they represent in the market. And that has really, I think, helped driven us as the brand owners of Doc Swinson's. Yeah, there's no reason to ever cut a corner here. So
Are we on to the bottle and bond?
yes, I just poured it for myself. In fact, thank you for keeping this all on track. Um, Bottle and Bond. I mean, you guys all know this one, right? You all familiar with Bottle and Bond and what it means? Great. If any of you ask me how I could legally do this, I'll tell you, but it's a really easy law to read. I'll be honest. Of all the TTB things out there that are chaotic and all over the place, the easiest one to understand is the Bottle and Bond Act. It's basically two paragraphs. And in a nutshell, we're allowed to do this because we list both the distilling plant and our DSP, the bottling plant, on the front or back of the bottle. It doesn't matter where you put it. It just has to be present on the bottle, which isn't always the case, I've noticed. So I see why people get funky about this one. Man, you know there's an Instagram profile that posts all like the new and exciting colas out there. I forget who does it. Anyways, they're awesome. But they posted this, and this was like when a lot of people I think were coming out with bottled and bond products. And man, the flack you get, like you can't do this, you're on a distillery and stuff. I'm like, oh, you guys, you just read the law. It's so simple. Which I understand. Most TTB things are not. They're all over the place, and there's so many different ways you could do things. But Bib is still one of the most protected things out there, which is amazing. And this is 95.5 mash bill from MGP. This was distilled in 2016. I even listed it right on the front of the bottle. Distilled in 2016. I don't know if you can see it right there. The mash bill is 95.5. And then there's also the 51 on here in case we did the 51 at a different date. And this was spring. And and yes, it does actually, in fact, list the DSP. Not that you could even see it, but that is the Indiana MGP DSP, and then our DSP is on the other side for bottling, and it literally says bottling on top of it. That just simply means The building that I am sitting in right now is a bonded warehouse. It is a federally bonded warehouse. We don't pay tax on it until we sell it out the door. And therefore, it is a bottled and bond product because we bottled it within the warehouse confines that are bonded, um, which is cool. You guys know it was like the first Food Protection Act in the country, which is epic. Before even milk, the thing that actually might kill you, I guess, right? Some would say. Nope, it was whiskey. People really cared about whiskey. And they wanted to make sure they weren't getting stiffed on their whiskey. And that's really where the Bottle and Bond Act came from. And I wrote the act on the back of the bottle. So if you need, the law is literally right there. I wanted to showcase that this is something we absolutely can do as a blending and rectifying plant. Um, and on top of it, I think one of the most interesting things is this is the only single mash bill non-finished whiskey I've ever put in a bottle since we've really built Doc Swinson, since basically 2018. There's a couple single barrels or other than single barrels. Sorry, I should preface that. Other than single barrels, this is the only product I've ever put in a bottle that's a single mash bill. Um, at least since COVID. Like I said, I think
Why?
2018.
Why did you side with a bottled and bond rye, not like a bourbon or something else?
Because I wanted to challenge the notion of what 95.5 rye was. I mean, it's the most popular. So there's two major mash bills in rye, right? And they tend to be 51 and 95, right? So the barely legal rye and then the almost 100% rye. And so many people are used to these two profiles in industry. And if you, a lot of people are familiar with the 95.5 mash bill. A lot of people have copied this mash bill in the industry to replicate what MGP has been producing, well, not MGP, but Seagram's before that has been producing for years. It's one of the most common mash bills in rye. And I wanted to take one of the most common things found in one of the most divisive parts of American whiskey, which is rye whiskey, and blend it in a way that doesn't taste like most of the 95.5 rye is out there. So I know that might not be the easiest thing to understand because we're just drinking that right now, but go look in your collection, find a couple other 95.5 ryes. Bullet is a good one. You could even grab that. And now, granted, they're a little different proof, but take this and taste it next to it and tell me what you think. So how I blended this was I put 64 barrels that were all 7 years old that I had at the time. I put them all on the ground, and this is commonly how I develop my blends. I put a Glencairn on top of every single one of these casks, and I crack them all open. And yes, it's an exhausting thing to do, but I do. I go through every single one. Garrett, my assistant, and I, we do it together now. We fill every single glass up to about the middle point, set them on top of the barrels, and we'll go through and take notes. And we both walk around with a piece of chalk. And what we do, our goal is over the course of the next month, we do this. We assign each barrel a primary flavor characteristic. So let's just say, for example, one of them is tannin or wood, right? Another one is spice. Another one is sweet. Another one is something we call funk because it's a profile that's really hard to describe, but it kind of has this bubblegum profile to it. Another one in this case would be like dill or mint. And we would assign each barrel that specific profile. Once we came up with the profiles we really liked, we tasted a bunch of other common 95.5 brands out there, tasted them, and decided to find a few profiles that we didn't see as common. And then we took that and made that the primary characteristic of this bottle and bond. You guys following me?
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds awesome.
Great. It's hard. I would be way better with like a whiteboard. But the whole idea was to challenge.
I think we have that function.
What's that?
I said, I think we have that function on Zoom, but I'm not going to
really?
get that ready.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. I should just map all this out one day. But the whole point was coming up with a profile that I thought was different enough from what is standard in the industry in a way that almost kind of bridges the gap of not only people who enjoy a spicy rye, but people who like bourbon. Because you can make a rye taste more like a bourbon. You can make a bourbon taste more like a rye if you want to, just through blending certain casks together. So this kind of bridges that gap a little bit because some of my favorite whiskeys when I got into this entire industry were rye whiskeys. And of course, it's usually the most, craft on whiskey out there. Well, not the most, but when it comes to American whiskey, the whole joke is 95% of the sales in the industry is bourbon and 5% is rye, which happens to be this mash bill. So I wanted to convince people that rye isn't what you necessarily think it is. And now I imagine all of you probably already know this because you're sitting here on this talking about whiskey on a Thursday evening. So I'm sure you already know this. But a lot of people don't. The most common thing that I hear during tasting events or in our tasting room stuff is, "Oh, I don't like ryes." But you know what the funny thing is? They usually walk away with a rye. I wanted to challenge that notion that rye is an amazing thing and it's not what people think it is because of marketing or products in the past, whatever. Maybe it was their parent or something that drank not so great ryes. Um, who knows? But I really wanted to change people's minds on it a little bit. And I think this does an excellent job of showcasing how blending unique barrels together will make a difference through this process.
So is this going to be a regular release or is this sort of a one-time? Because I imagine this process, you would have to go through the process again. It's not like you can just go, all right, let's just assume that if I lay out 50 barrels, they're all going to taste woody, or like you have to mark them the same and go through the same thing, right? So basically,
Yes.
asking another way, if I like this and I see it, I should grab it because it may not appear again.
I would recommend that direction, Jordan. I totally would. If you see this and you like it, you should just grab it. Um, we did talk about making this like an annual release. I think it'll become every 2 years, is what I'll put it out as, because this is arguably one of the most exhaustive processes that I've ever done. And it was just because I wanted to prove a point, which might be a little bit self-serving in that regard. But out of those 64 casts that I started with, it was about 28 that made the blend. So it does it, and it took me about a month to get through that process. And my palate was definitely burned out, I'll be honest. I was like, nope, okay, I gotta take a break now.
And
But this is the
it,
results.
it's 7 years old, is that right?
Yeah, this is seven, correct? Yeah. I think I will put this out again. I really enjoy it. It's also one of our best-selling whiskeys in the on-premise, so bars, right? Bars absolutely adore this because it works so well in cocktails, like a high-end bar. We've noticed bartenders love playing with it. It's flavorful enough, but also bridges that gap into that bourbon world a little bit for people. So it's a little bit more friendly while still retaining those like spicier, more citrus forward notes in the rye versus some of the more off. I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily like that barnyardy or dilly profile that you get in a lot of ryes, and this doesn't really showcase that for most people. Yeah, I heard it's a little different though. So yeah, this is. I'll work on another version of it, and I believe I will keep it in the same profile category. So that predominant characteristic I'll probably hold, but I haven't done it yet, so we'll find out. And it might be older. I've been holding on to these very casks, the very ones that were left over from that. I still have, and I kept them for a reason because I wanted to see what I could maybe do at 9 years. Nine just seems like it has a nice number to it. So, also I've been tasting them; they're delicious.
Did you have a profile in your mind? Were you trying to replicate something, or were you just, as you went, going, okay, I think if I combine this, it's going to be interesting?
That is the second one. Yeah, this was not. I didn't go into this with a notion of what I wanted to. I mean, you know what I mean with the profile. I really let the barrel speak to me on this one. Instead of trying to like fudge it ever so each way, I said these are the profiles that I'm really liking. I think they're going to be the best combination. Let's see what it looks like. And we would create all, bench blend, bench blend, bench blend. Then we came with what we called our golden ratio, which is a really nice mixture of each that developed this. And I really let the whiskeys showcase, or the barrel showcase what it wanted to do, if that makes sense. While still maintaining that I wanted to make this different, one, a bottle and bond, and different enough from a typical 95.5 rye. So I steered away from that. That was the main thing. So as long as I wasn't producing something that tasted like almost everybody else's 95, I was pretty happy.
It kind of reminds me if we've ordered food a bunch of times in a row, instead of going, what do you want? I go, okay, what do you not want?
Yeah.
Let's start fucking taking things off the board, then you get to what you want. So interesting.
Honestly, it's a great way to blend a lot of times. Is what do I not want in there? This is the direction that I'm going to go. It helps build these products, and also helps us keep me out of the like becoming like the 20 other brands that are already similar enough. Like I think that's something I don't like doing. So oftentimes when I'm tasked with building a new finish, it's I rarely ever taste anybody else's version. It occasionally happens. Like, I've tried a lot of whiskey, especially like like joining like groups like you guys, where sometimes I'll get bottles sent to me, or like I'm at one of your guys' houses and I'll just try a bunch of stuff. So occasionally those things do happen, but most of my uh, releases have been solely based upon what we wanted to produce, not with having tasted it from anywhere else. Because the reality is, we're all getting different casks anyways. So if I was to try and box myself into like making like a kind of a knockoff version of somebody else's, I probably wouldn't do the best job anyways. It's going to be different. Not all sherry casks are the same, that's for sure. For example. So yeah, anyways, that's Bottle and Bond.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is one of the 6 individual bottles that I don't hate in rye.
I remember you saying that last time, because I think when we released this was very new on the market, if I remember correctly, the last time, and you specifically said, "Ooh, I don't," or was it, "I don't like ryes." I remember this whole thing about it, like, I don't really care for ryes, they're super rare. I was like, I think you might like this one. You're like, we'll find out.
Yeah, no, this is still on my list of. I'm not sure I would ever buy a bottle, so you guys are safe. You can get as many as you want. But if I was to buy one, this would be on my list.
But you don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
Hey, I don't hate it is a pretty good praise.
I hate the damn things with fake praise, but yeah, I don't hate it.
That is such high praise from Jane. Is I don't hate it is like, oh my God, I love it from other people.
This is almost deja vu-esque. I feel like this is the exact triangle in my Zoom that happened last time between the three of you, Vadim, Jane, Tim. You guys literally had the exact same comments, I feel like, so this is grand. Um, I mean, it is the same bottling. I've only made one of these. There's been one release ever. It was a very big release though, so I want to say I think I did like 12,000 bottles, which is probably one of the largest releases we've ever done. Besides Golden Hour. Golden Hour has been the largest release in the Expo cask end we've ever done.
But that's brand new. We
Yeah.
still get to taste it.
Yeah, that's coming up. Luckily, it's on the list, so we're good.
Yeah.
It's totally dessert, by the way, so prepared for that dessert bomb. But the next one's Muscatel.
Let's do it.
So Muscatel's an older bottling. It's also I've never wanted to pick my own children, I'll be totally honest, but Muscatel is the one that always comes back to me. I'm like, damn, I did a good job of this. I really am proud of Muscatel, and it's one of the ones I go back to every time. And I'm like, this is exactly what I want when it's like that right temperature, hanging out outside, on the porch kind of thing. This is the one that always calls my name. And it also reminds me of a very specific thing that I would do as a child of all things with my grandmother. I'm not even kidding. But I'll let you guys try it first because it might influence your palates a little more than.
Got such a great nose. I just want to smell it for a while.
Yep. And this is bourbon. This is a blend of the same 2 bourbons that are in triple cask and session blend, but at a slightly different ratio. It's a little bit less rye, meaning like about 1.5% or so less than the triple cask, but still pretty high rye. So we're about 34% or so on average, the rye in this.
Mm.
And if I remember correctly, the age on this was this release, I believe, was about 9 months in the cask. You guys are all tasting 23-0013, or who has a bottle? I think, Vadim, that's what was on the picture that you had.
Yeah, if it's on the picture, that's what we're tasting.
Great, cool, it is. I've done this a couple times. This was my favorite release. These were the best casks in Muscatel I've ever received. And this is actually one I could tell you the whole provenance, which is great because oftentimes I can't share sometimes the provenance, the history of the barrels that I get, because usually corporations don't like me talking about their names. I ask though, I swear, I ask every time. My favorite is, I will say this, we work a lot with Suntory Beam for some other projects, not for Doc Swinson, but for other projects. And they own Lefroy, and I do use Lefroy casks. And I've asked them like, hey, can I please use Lefroy on some of my labels? You've only heard this here for the record, so I know it's on camera, but whatever. Let them find it. And And they're so nice. They're like, yeah, we'll totally like talk to legal. You know, I absolutely believe them. I love the people I work with there. They're so wonderful. And I already know that they probably do actually send that email out to legal and they send it back to me and it's quite funny. They're very eloquent, very sweet, and they'll just say, even some of the biggest brands in the world have asked us to do this, and we still say no. And I'm like, that's fair. As long as you guys actually ask that question, and I truly believe they do. So, um,
Then the response is you just put quarter cask, a smoky quarter
boom.
cask.
Yeah, exactly, Vadim. That's exactly it. And everyone knows exactly where it's coming from. You're like,
That's it. We
yes.
just hosted a Lefroy tasting a couple of weeks ago, and it was pretty legendary. Good
Oh,
people.
epic. Yeah, I really appreciate what they do. Honestly, the first time I fell in love with a PD style scotch like that was because it was Lefroy. It was not the quarter cast though. It was I think the select if I remember, and it was actually in a chocolate malt. I was like 16. Somebody gave this to me at like a trade show thing. Not at all booze related, and I was like, yes, this is epically delicious. So,
Wow.
chocolate and smoke go beautifully together, just as a funny hint.
The nose on this makes me just think of snow.
Yes,
Yeah,
I love
snow.
that. It reminds me of the holidays. Not
Yeah.
necessarily because of snow, but I like that. That's really beautiful.
Jim, most of us are from LA. What is the snow you speak of?
Yeah. Well, I live in Oregon, so there you go.
Gotcha.
I used to live in LA most of
We
my
need to
life.
frost your refrigerator, Vadim.
Oh, okay, got it, got it.
For me, this whiskey reminds me of dipping orange peels in orange liqueur, which is something I would do with my grandmother. And then you would dry them out, dip them in, or sorry, you dip them in sugar, so candied orange peels, that then is dipped in salted chocolate. All those profiles are in this for me. Maybe not for y'all, but it is for me. And it was so evident the first time I ever tasted it. And it just straight up reminded me of doing that with my grandma during the holidays. Because it has this chocolatey, citrusy note to it for me.
I get the citrusy and even a little of the chocolatey. It just the nose is the best thing I've tasted or smelled yet
I
here.
love it.
The nose is killer.
This is a fun one. Oh, and I guess I can tell you the provenance of the cast. Sorry, that was my whole lead in with Lefroy. Um, these are so other than the American white oak that they sat in for about 6 years, um, these are French oak. They were 270-liter size that then went or were used in, or sorry, 228 liters that were used to age Rothschild Bordeaux, and then moved to Portugal to Adega de Palmela, and they were used to age their Moscatel for 10 years, and then we got them, which is one of the first times I've been able to talk about that, so I love that fact. It just brought the whole connection together, and you can taste all the layers of those different things in here. Just I mean, they're ever so subtle, but they're in there, and I love that. And I actually have a bottle of actually a bottle in several jugs because it's what came in the cast too, of the Moscatel de Setúbal.
So I think you mentioned
Great.
on a couple of your other podcasts that you've been on, but like how are you guys able to source these very unique sort of barrels? Is that just through relationships that you've had, or is it
It's
something else?
So I mean, there's definitely a couple places. So some of my barrels come from, like I said, those awesome relationships that I've really built through mostly distributorships, um, uh, which is grand. So some of our distributorships will also be importers, and I have a couple friends that are importers, and they'll hook me up with different producers overseas, and then eventually, usually, we have a Zoom call. It's usually how it starts. I've been to some of these places now. We've built friendships. So for example, I have a bunch of like 27 plus year old Pinot de Charente casks and Armagnac casks that all came from a family that I know personally in France. And this was like their family reserve stuff and it's like small farm stuff. And I love that. And so that makes up probably about 30 to 40% of our casks. And then some of it is through brokers as well. Like a lot of us use brokers because it's cost effective, right? They have the relationship. They're going to bring in casks and then split up a container because a container can hold upward of 200 plus standard size American oak barrels, for example, in them. And that's more than I usually need. So usually we'll lean on brokers to break them up for us. Um, that probably makes about 30 or so percent to 40% of our barrels. And then that last little bit sometimes just come from the weirdest conversations I'll have. I'll just message somebody on Instagram, be like, hey, I really love what you guys do. Would you ever sell me a cask? And sometimes they say yes. It's great. And then I'll just work on like, okay, let's do a 20-foot container. Let's load it up. Tell me what you have. Let's go through it. Let's try some things out together. Like I want you to be proud of what you're sending me to, which is my favorite part with the smaller, like the personal relationships and the one-offs that I've just messaged people about. Um, and that's where the rest of them kind of come from. Um, so just a whole host of different places. Um, I think just being, I don't know, just being willing to pick up the phone. Somebody told me that a long time ago. Just cold call some people, man. You'll probably get some cool answers. I was like, all right, might as well. And then distributors or importers. Those guys have been integral to our process, and they're people that also believe in our product and sell our product. And they'll be like, hey, I also sell this product over here. You want to talk to the owners? I was like, yeah, please, let's do it. And then we'll have facilitate a whole conversation. And then now our reps on the ground also have a cool story. Like, hey, this whatever Remy Landy cognac or you know, uh, they worked with Doc Swinson's on getting barrels over there. Now this whiskey is aged in this, so you can have both kind of thing, and that's kind of a neat story for like a curated whiskey bar, for example, or spirits bar. So yeah,
All right, follow on question. Is there a barrel type that you're still actively hunting that you have yet to find?
I wouldn't say yet to find, just waiting for the right time to get the right casks. Yeah, Amarone. I love Amarone wines, and I really want to work with them. And I've found them many a time so far, but it doesn't. I want a little bit more out of them. Meaning, I want the personal connection. I want to go talk to the people in Italy and go find those barrels and do it to make that story complete. I think that's a big part of my focus moving forward with a lot of my expo cast is really connecting all the dots from all the resources that we're working with, all the suppliers. So I think that's the one I've been wanting to do it with since 2017 when I first was like, I want to do an Amarone cast. I still haven't done it, so I'm saving it for that event, which is so silly, but I'm doing it. Um, and I started doing cognac, all of our cognac casts, most of our Armagnac casks, not all of them, but most of our Armagnac casks, cognac casks, and Pinot de Chirant casks, of course, those are all coming from people I personally know now. But yeah, the Amarones, I don't know. There's a host of other ones for the record as well. Um, some really funky ones out there. Have you guys? I don't even. Some of you might be more familiar with like Rivasalts. Yeah, exactly. Like I was like, what the heck even is that? Yeah,
Have
it's
you,
another fortified wine product, basically, sort of.
have you done anything local to you guys? Because Washington is known for some good wines, and so is Oregon and California.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm very limited, I'll be honest. I love the result of them, but I don't necessarily love working with non-fortified wines. They're fickle. Um, they tend to take a long time for the profiles that I really want, or they can be overly dominant. And more often than not, they're sulfured. And sometimes they're like O2'd or whatever, but I find them to be kind of difficult to work with, so I honestly don't go down the path too often. But to be fair, the third finish I've ever done is a Cabernet Sauvignon, and it was our Kiona Cask Vineyards, and that's out of the Red Mountain. They're the people who grew the original vines in Red Mountain, which has become one of the most popular AVAs in Washington, the one of the most sought after AVAs in Washington too. And that was with Kiona Vineyards. And that family's awesome. Those grapes were originally planted in 74 in the desert. Nobody wanted that back in the day, and they were told not to do it. And consistently come out as one of the top wineries on the West Coast. And they're such a fun family too. I will call them. I'll be like, "Hey, I'm looking for some casks, during dumping season." And I will drive down there personally that day, go hang out with them. We dump the barrels. I pop them in the back of a truck and a trailer, drive them up, and we fill them that exact same day. There is no waiting, which is absolutely, and that has made some of my all-time favorites. In fact, it was, I have a bottle right here. I've got like 3 bottles left in existence in my office. This is, if you find one, just buy it. Buy me one too, and I'll pay you back because I can't
Yeah,
find them anymore.
I'm still holding on to this 4 ounce bottle that I have left from the first release that you put out.
It was, I mean, is it the best whiskey I've ever tried? No, but damn, it's one of my favorites I've ever produced. That's for sure. And it's worth it if you find a bottle. You probably won't taste much like it. And but with that being said, I also have currently going on in the back some from Tor Vineyard, so Napa. Some with Jeff Ames, the vintner. I'm working with him on a project. And then also. Oh, I'm getting feedback. There, it's gone, I think. Sorry, I kept hearing myself like twice over again.
So good, we wanted to listen to it twice.
Twice. Gosh, well, I did say feedback, so I guess it responded. So yeah, I'm working with some Napa Cabernets right now that have been in the cast for over 2 years at this rate, and they're just now getting to the point where I'm really stoked. Like I'm like, these are getting gorgeous. So I think I'll release those next fall, so probably almost a year from now. Um, and then I'm also have a what is it? A 30 hectoliter, so 3,000 liter cask in the back that was used for local ciders from the same producers that make Finn River. I don't know if you guys get that down in California, but they're probably one of the better cider producers in the country. Meaning they make very authentic, very good cider. And that's a rye. It's actually the rest of bottled in bond. We ran out of labels. And instead of, just buying more labels, I took about 350 gallons of it and put it in this cider cask. That's will fit half of a Mini Cooper in it. And that has been aging almost 2 years now. And it is, I just tried it the other day, like literally like 3 days ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is getting so beautiful. It tastes like you ever like walk by a proper like cider apple tree, like an orange pippin or even a crab apple tree, and they're just super fragrant and really tart and kind of bitter, but in a most gorgeous way possible. That's what this cast tastes like with the spices of the rye. This tastes like pie. Like the best pie, the best boozy pie and cider I've ever had. So I'm stoked
Well, I
about
was
that.
going to say that your blending profile, I think, would go really well with like an Applejack barrel.
Yes. I cut my teeth originally in brandy distillation. That's where I kind of got my whole start in this, in particularly apple brandy. And so Applejack, yes. And then also I haven't done it since 2017 though, and I'd love to do it again. This is like an elusive thing that just doesn't exist anywhere, but uh, Calvados finish. And I want to do that one again. But that's another one I'm reserving for like the right relationship. So those are a little harder. Getting French people to sell you barrels is really tough for the record, especially as an American, if you can imagine. So I had the opportunity, and I have talked to him very briefly, very, very, very briefly, from Navarre Cognac. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he will die with all of his barrels, meaning he's makes such beautiful products. He's like, no, I will never sell barrels to anybody. They'll all die with me. And I'm like, okay, that's fair, dude. I see why your products are absolutely gorgeous. And that's a dream. Who knows? It could still come true. But yeah, you got to eat a lot of cheese. Hang out with the French to get them to give you a barrel, which is not a bad thing. The testament to their craft. Gosh, yeah. So there are some other local ones. I've never done one with beer, honestly. I know some people, I get this question all the time. You're gonna do with a local brewery. We have so many great local breweries. I understand it. I wouldn't say no to the right one. I just don't know if I've found that yet, to be honest. I find beer finished or whiskeys that have been finished in beer casks don't usually rank very high in my book, so I just haven't had the interest, to be honest. It doesn't mean that that perception won't change. I just haven't found it yet. So if any of you have any suggestions, prove me wrong, and I'd love that. Hmm. So I'm still drinking this Muscatel. Yeah. Who said it? One of you said it earlier. This is something I could just like hang out with. Jane, was that you that said like the aroma I could just hang out with for a long time? Yeah. This is a fun one. Yeah, if you see this bottle out there and you like it, you should definitely find one. I don't know when I'll ever do this one again. These were hard casts to get. Hmm. All right, you guys ready for some dessert? All right, so that's golden hour. The next one up on our list here. Golden hour. You can tell I've become a little more playful with the labels. So silly images and more memorable names. Turns out nobody remembers Muscatel or Pinot de Charente. This is like a growth of our marketing in general. Um, Golden Hour, I named it that because this is the whiskey, other than Muscatel, to be fair. I think this is the whiskey that I really wanted to challenge my own perception of what Doc Swinson's was. And I wanted to go with a heavier finish, heavier than generally anything I've ever done. And I wanted to make this one a little more approachable and inviting for a broader group of whiskey drinkers. That's why it is a little sweeter. It leans more into the sweet category than the other whiskeys. Um, I still wanted it spicy, and I still wanted to prove that ryes can be a lot more than what people think they are. Um, and I also had a little excess of our Solera method rye whiskey finish and rum cask laying around. And I found myself with some extra tawny port casks from a bourbon tawny port profile I was working on. And I also happen to have about 2 barrels each of white port and ruby port. This whiskey is not only from our Solera system, so that's rums. So it's two different rye whiskeys blended together that's then aged in rum casks from Trinidad, Jamaica, Venezuela, and the USVI that we develop in-house here. So we bring them here and we age them here. And then it goes into our Solera system for on average about 3 years from once it's put in to when we pull it out. And then it went into predominantly tawny port casks, right? And then originally I was just going to release it as that, just tawny port finish. And then when I was tasting it, it was great. It literally tastes like raspberry banana bread. That's what I got out of it. And then I was like, this needs a little bit. I feel like it needed something to boost the aromatics a little bit more. And that's where the ruby port really came into play. So we added just a hint of ruby port finished of the same whiskey, the rye finished in rum casks. And that really boosted the aromatics and gave it this fresh brightness, like more like bright red fruits. And then it needed something to cut the sweet and the fat a little bit of the tawny port in particular, and that's where white port comes into play. There's 1% of this is white port. 4% is ruby port, and 95% of it is the tawny port cask profiles. And that it took me 164 tries to get this blend down. It took me a month and a half, and I was yeah, talk about like my palate still wasn't burned out though, so I was happy about that. But it definitely got me to a point where I was like, yeah, I need a break for like my liver for the next couple weeks. So I drank a lot of tea for a little while. Yeah, but and it's also a little bit lower proof. If you notice, we went from the Muscatel was 105.3 proof. This one drops back down to 98. This is where I found it to be most approachable. This was where it really started bringing out the brown sugar profiles, like brown sugar, maple. It still, I think, has that nice background of like baked, like banana bread profile, as well as raspberry. Those are all pretty big characteristics for me. But I think it was the first whiskey that I was like, I really want to like showcase Expo Cast for people that don't quite understand what this is yet, what Doc Swinson's is, or what Finnish whiskeys are yet. That's really approachable, yet super complex if you want to think about it. And for the first release of this one, um, it's I believe it's the only rye ever to make it in this category, only because I haven't found proof that it isn't. At San Francisco World Spirits Awards last last year, it was top five finished whiskeys in the world. So that's Irish, Scotch, French, English, American, Canadian, Japanese, Taiwanese, top five, which is pretty cool. Not only was it I mean, they're all Finnish whiskeys, but not only was it an American whiskey, it's American rye. And I was really proud of that one because I don't think a rye's ever made it in that category. I've never found any evidence of that. So that was kind of proud. And it was second to, or so they only give you the top five rankings like publicly, but they did tell me later on that it was only bested by a $900 bottle of Cavalon, which is understandable, I guess. This is not $900 for the record. I think I think this SRP is for like $74 in California.
So I was lucky enough to get invited to a little shindig that Steve hosted down here, and David OG
Yeah.
instantly tasted this and said, "We'll get a few cases of this." It was the one whiskey he was like, "We're definitely bring this in for sure." So
This is a fun one.
our KNLs will have this for sure.
It was it also we did like a single barrel release or whatever at one point in time, and it was gone in less than like 3 hours or something. And by the way, these barrels are big. Single barrel meaning like I just released the tawny port version, not the one that I actually blended. This is, I think, far better personally than any of the single barrels I did. But we released one, and it was gone in less than like 3 hours or something like that. It was very popular. I mean, ports are in general, they're still like arguably the most popular finish gas out there. Um, but this was pretty cool. I also didn't want to showcase on the label that it was tawny, ruby, and white port cast. And the only reason I did that is because I wanted the freedom of maybe doing it differently next time. So this is one of those things you just have to go to our website and say, okay, what do I have in my hand here? And then look it up, and then we'll showcase it online. Or we should be. If not, I'm going to go talk to the web developer. But it should all be listed online. But on the label, I wanted to make it a little bit more, oh, this is rye, rum, and port. That's what matters here. It's just a different take. It was a challenge on my own thinking for our brand. I think it did well.
And it worked. And it worked.
It works, yeah. It's like it was the largest Expo cast release I ever did. I think we were just shy of, it should be listed on here. No, this is just bottle number. I think it was just shy of 14,000 bottles. Most of my Expo cast for the record are like 2 barrels. Up to usually like 8 maybe. And don't get me wrong, sometimes those barrels are quite large. In this cast, most of these barrels, once all put together, it was 16 500-liter casks and approximately 4 228-liter casks. So it's quite a large batch, which I'm happy I made because we've been moving through this one. Like I said, it's more approachable for most people. It's a great introduction to finish cast while still for people who are really familiar with it, being able to like sit here and chew on it. And I love the fact I could chew on this for ages. And then,
Jane,
like,
why is my sample only announced? That doesn't seem like enough.
sounds like you know where to find some bottles.
I know, right?
Are they still around? I mean,
I don't think they've received them yet.
oh no way. When did that happen with you and Steve? When was he
Like
there?
a month ago.
Oh yeah, that was super recent.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Well, they should
Love
be
the
released.
name though.
It's probably what's that? The name?
Love the name.
Yeah, honestly, I've been learning from my own marketing experiences that most people, it's too complicated to remember all the finish casts involved. So like straight bourbon whiskey, finished muscatel cast, it's just too much for anybody to remember for the most part. So just coming up with a simple name that's actually fun and memorable is what I started naming them all. That's why they're like, Funky Drummer or Golden Hour or Summer Retreat or Reefer Madness or Smoke on Water. They're all like things you can kind of like remember. And in the end, that's also a trick to convince people that You don't see, this sounds terrible. I want more people to drink rye. I'm just really going to lean into this more and more. And even on our own tasting menu in our tasting room, under all the exploratory casks, I don't list whether it's a bourbon or a rye. If you want to ask, you can. But what we noticed is that when we talk about ryes, people are like, oh, I don't like ryes once again. I'm like, no, 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 no. You probably do. You just haven't had the ryes you like yet. Or you've been in this perception for such a long time. So I purposely removed all the type of whiskey behind the product. And you know what? We started selling a lot more ryes. Not saying the bourbons are great. I think we make excellent bourbons. It's just there's a lot of really good rye in this portfolio. And in the end, if somebody says, I mean, most people think Golden Hour is a bourbon for the record. Every time I'm in market and whatnot, people are like, "Oh, that Golden Hour, man, that was such a great bourbon." I'm like, "Yeah, it's rye, but yeah, whatever you want to think, man. Like, as long as you enjoy it, I'm happy."
I think we're gonna have to put together a GoFundMe to send Jane to your tasting room to get her converted.
Oh my gosh, I
Teach
love
her a
it.
lesson.
Hey, it's just a fun goal, honestly. One other thing to say that gets me up in the morning is get y'all drinking some more rye.
I know, I too hate
It,
rye. Send me more rye. I
it,
need to learn to drink rye.
it's like sounds like y'all just need to come up here one of these days.
You know what? I think we do.
Field trip.
What is
Um,
there to do out there other than drink your amazing whiskey?
I mean, that's the primary reason you should come. But Bellingham's a cool place. I mean, if you like anything in the outdoors, this is an epic place to be. There's literally like right outside my office, there's a mountain you can go skiing on, or hiking on, or camping on. You can go hunting, whatever floats your boat out there. The sea is like 2 miles away. You can go fishing, you can go crabbing, you can go boating, you can go sailing, you can
Like an actual sea, or are you talking about the ocean?
no, the sea. We have a sea. We're
You have a
in
sea.
technically Washington's quite. We're in Washington. Same with Seattle. Seattle is a third of the way in from the ocean.
What?
Yeah, everybody
I've
thinks
been.
it's on the ocean. No, it's not. So Washington, I can't do it with my hand. I'm trying to do this like Michigan, you know. Here it kind of looks like. Haha, looks like this. This is the peninsula. This is Canada, where my eye is. Seattle's right here. The ocean's over here. There's this like 80-mile chunk of land that's in between the two. We're right here, like right next to Canada. So we have what's called the Salish Sea next to us and the Puget Sound, which is just south of that. And there's hundreds of islands all right here. So it's like this giant playground. It's amazing.
Well, you're not far from me. I'm in Oregon, northern parts near Portland, so I
Jimmy,
might
you
have
gotta
to come up there.
you gotta come up one of these days. Oh my gosh, absolutely. I make it to Oregon fairly often too, so
Well,
I
um
think on this one, the interesting thing is even though it's only 1%, the if you didn't have the white port, it wouldn't, you need that kind of honey pear note to
yeah.
cut through all the richness. Because it's the thing that keeps you makes it so you can keep coming back to it. Otherwise, it's just rich. It's just dessert.
You said that so much better than I did. That's exactly the whole purpose. It's the same reason why you use acids in cooking, right? You need acid to cut through the fat. Without it, you can't continue very easily. It's too tough. You need that. It's just like making a drink that's too sweet. You're going to sell one of them, you're not going to sell three of them, which, depends on your views on, drinking too much, but that's a different story. Um, it's the same principles. You need these balances. That's the reason why we do these things in cooking. Apply that to this, and it works the same way.
Yeah, I'd
Um,
love to taste this white port with like a Palo Cortado finish.
that's a great idea. I have not thought about. Jason, when are you coming up here to work with me here?
We're just gonna drink meat shit.
I love it. That's all that matters. Seriously, I'd love to host y'all. If any of you are ever in the area or whatnot, shoot me an email. Even if it's through like Vadim, you have my email, I'm sure. Feel free to share my contact information with the group. And then also, like, even if you just email our general inquiry inbox, it literally comes to me anyways. So you'll probably talk to me. And that's just hello@docswhiskey.com. So but the neat thing is, so Jason, you gave me the perfect segue because the last whiskey we're gonna try here is our white port finish. Now, this is a rye, or sorry, yeah. This is the rye. I'm doing a bourbon version of it too. This is a white port finished rye. This is a piece of what makes up golden hour. And you'll taste exactly what I was shooting for in this. You just have to keep a mind open of what tawny port finished whiskeys you've tasted kind of taste like, and you'll see exactly how this fit into play. I tried it with 2%, I tried it with 3%, I tried it with 4%. It's too much. 1% was the right number. I tried it with a half as well. 1% was exactly what I needed. And it made all the difference in the world between those batches. Those last, like, basically, like, probably around 20 to 24 blends I produced, all incorporated white port. It took me that 100 and like 30 different blends to get me to realize I needed something a little more acidic. I had everything else. I just needed something a little more acidic. This made this, as I like to classify it, as a chuggable bottle. I know that's not
Right.
classy, but I love that.
Very much is. And yes, please drink responsibly.
Mhm.
As we transition into our last pour, Jane is prepped and ready to go. Amanda reminded me we need to take our group photo or a toast. And we do want to raise a glass to you, Jesse, for making the time to be here with us and making this amazing spirit that got us together. Yeah, Edgar's coming back at the perfect moment. Awesome. If we can just get Brandon on here, we'll have 100%. But yeah, thank you so much to you for
Woo!
getting us to come together, and thank you to the group. Yeah, Brandon's here. Thank you to the group for making themselves available tonight. So cheers, smile to the camera, and hold it for 10 seconds. Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you.
I love it. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming doing this on a Thursday evening. Thank you for putting this all together. Vadim, thank you for dealing with our text messaging inconsistencies. Um,
And being totally jealous when you're hanging out with other people in Seattle. You
You're
and
still
Steve in the same room at the same time? That's like, that doesn't happen.
not anymore. Oh my gosh. Hey, you're still number one in our book. I always try and do that. I'm like, I just end up making this crooked looking twisted thing that I can never get.
There
Haha.
you go.
Yeah, but then it's
And
like that.
the new one is this, right? That's the new one.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, Amanda, you know what's up.
You know stuff. I like that.
Ghost up. Yeah,
I have a 10-year-old, so it's
gotcha.
I'm like, no, it's this.
You're like, no cap, all the weird words I
The
don't.
new thing is like somebody does this and then somebody hands them a glass and goes, "Shut up, drink it."
Oh, I'm down for that. I'm gonna do that to Steve. He likes to do the heart thing a lot. And I'm like,
Yeah. Somebody does this for like a video and you're like, turn it, put a glass in there, go away.
clever, clever.
If I see that on your Instagram, I'm gonna feel very proud that
Oh
I
my gosh,
gave you that idea.
I'll tell Joe and Steve. They don't let me on there anymore, which is probably for the better. So,
Awesome. So on to the last pour. Now that we've taken a photo.
sorry, I just got entwined in this glass. Summer retreat. Yeah. Oh, okay. So summer retreat is, like I said, it's a piece of what makes up golden hour, right? And the whole reason I named it this was because I actually made it in the winter. It was like January, I think 4th, if I remember correctly. It was like January 4th. I was going through my whole warehouse. And usually in the winter here, our warehouse is really too cold to go through a lot of the barrels and actually get anything accurate out of them. They're just chilly. It's usually it's usually like 50 to 45 degrees in the warehouse quite commonly. And it's just a bit too cold here to really understand what's going on. So oftentimes I'll pull samples from the barrels and bring them into my lab, let them warm up throughout the day, taste them the next day to make sure I understand what's going on. And it was really interesting that day. It's not that sunny here in the Pacific Northwest, right? Some of us know that. Um, wait, where did he go? Who's in Oregon?
Jim ran
Forget
off
it.
just a second ago.
Yeah. Anyways, it's not that sunny here all that often, especially in the winter. And it was January 4th. I was going through the whole warehouse. It was like a Saturday, and it was abnormally sunny and warm that day. And where all these barrels were sitting were next to a giant roll-up door, and I rolled up the door. I let the cold air like rush in, and these barrels sat in the sun for a couple hours before I got to tasting them. And when I tasted this, I literally thought of the summer. Like it's that cheesy, and I'm like, no way, this is a summer retreat. It's vibrant, it's more citrus forward, it's a little bit lighter while still maintaining some of those nice classic rye spices, but it's a little bit lighter and more citrusy. And for me, that just brought me right into middle of end of summer where it's hot. and you want something refreshing. And that's why I called it Summer Retreat. It was my retreat into the summer. Sounds cheesy, but that's like where the names come from, and I love that fact. It is kind of cheesy, but it was like an actual experience that I had. Um, and white port is something that most people have never tried in this country, let alone most other places. It's hard to find white ports, but a white port, I kid you not, like I love a white port spritz. This is like my version of iced tea on the porch kind of thing. Is white port, soda water, sometimes some bitters added to it in ice. I love it, and it's why I did a white port finish. It's got that nice zesty bright kick to it that I'm looking for sometimes. So. And I did it with rye because I figured it would balance off the spices really beautifully. I've done it with bourbon too, but I haven't released it yet.
I made a cocktail that was I made it for cruises and for poorly stocked bars at events. But it was basically I wanted to
I love
think of a
that.
refreshing version of a Negroni, so I swapped everything. And so I
Yeah.
did 2 parts rye, 1 part Lilla Blanc, and 1 part Aperol. And
Oh, heck
this
yeah.
tastes like if you took the rye and the Lilla Blanc, and so the only thing you're missing is a little grapefruit and orange, and you'd have it.
Which kind of beckons to that electric cowboy I was like selfishly plugging earlier. Yep, yeah, exactly. Yours sounds like a much more highbrow addition there, Jason. So I love that. Um, but yeah, anyways, yeah, Summer Retreat's it's actually been one of the most popular ones in the tasting room too, which I did not suspect. But I love that. I think that was great, especially because the tasting room's only been open during summer. This is a little bit higher proof. We have the 105.2 proof edition. Um, which I was pretty I don't know, I've been
This
stoked on.
one definitely does not drink 52 and a half or
No,
52.6. It also could be that it's my sixth pour and I haven't had any alcohol for the last few days.
that could be it. But no, most people seem to. I mean, a lot of people that I would easily say would not be interested in a cast strength, let alone a rye, have gravitated towards this in our tasting room.
You got
I
to
mean,
stop calling it that. You're like everything's great up until you say that one word, and then Jane's like, "What? I'm not interested."
no, Jane, we just need to we need to like train your brain on what rye is. Like rye is delicious, like rye.
I don't like rye bread either, so I just
Mm.
don't, it's not the whiskey. I don't like the grain.
I'm sorry, we have such a rye lineup for you tonight. At least one of the rye is hit, right?
Yeah,
It was
I
3 and 3. She was okay with that.
like the
One
the
and a half.
golden hour and the summer retreat. Both are kind of like they're there. They're not number seven yet, but
You can't
definitely.
all be winners, but she's enjoying it.
Come on, I mean, it's been 5 years and I still only have six ryes that I would actually not say no to. So
I still feel honored from that statement. So I'll take it.
Only 320 tastings in, and on average 6 pours. So you do the math.
Yeah, there's a
You had
couple.
mentioned some pumpernickel rye earlier. Is that from Middle West, or is that
Yeah,
from? Okay.
you got it right. 100%. It's Middle West. Yeah, yeah. So I've been working. I'm not 100% on this blend yet. So it may or may not incorporate it. I'm not sure, but I really like the profiles I get from it. Um, in fact, I think that's one thing I really enjoyed about some of these other producers when they're working with Rise is using some more like heirloom grain or heirloom varieties. They do showcase some more unique profiles, that's for certain.
Yeah, 'cause
I'm not
I have their ported pumpernickel and their regular pumpernickel. They're just it's good.
It's cool. It's neat. I'm like, yeah, you guys did a great job. Not to mention they oftentimes use malted rye too, and which is
Yeah.
not that common, and I love the fact it's malted rye. I think that's the one thing if I could, and to be fair, I'm working on it. So here's a new advancement in the Doc Swinson world. Is working on maybe a custom mash built for Doc Swinson's itself as a base, or maybe two. Um, I'm already working with Whiskey House for distillation, so we almost all of our new fill is Whiskey House. We still do a lot with MGHP. Don't get me wrong, it's still like about half of it. But I wanted the freedom to play around a little bit more. So the last 2.5 years, I've been working with Whiskey House in Kentucky in developing some more custom profiles. Those will take a couple years to show up, so just stay tuned. Um, uh, but anyways, is working with a little bit higher malted content. Just a little bit, a couple percent. That's it. 2% more malt in the rye profile makes such a big difference, and it's absolutely gorgeous, especially when it comes to the body, the weight of the rye that I'm looking for, that I think really helps gravitate people towards my ryes, that I think a lot of ryes can lack for a lot of people. And moving away from that more classic barnyardy grainy profile, which is beautiful, especially as a distiller. I absolutely adore it, but it's just not what really most people in the market are looking for.
Well, it's
Um,
interesting. Like, I'm aware of high malted bourbons, and I don't love them. What are some high malted ryes I might be able to try just to get a sense of how that's
I,
different?
I wouldn't necessarily say, I guess,
Or higher malted than
yeah. So like MGP is like classically 4%, 5%
right.
in the case of the one rye. But even Old Forester, right? I think is what 10, almost 10%, or
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
yeah. Oh, quite a few other distillers are using that 6 to 12% malted content, and I'd be looking for that 6 to 8%. So
Gotcha.
for me, I shouldn't say for the industry. It would
Gotcha.
be right within the ballpark of everything else you've ever tasted, probably. Going to your point, leaning too high on all malt, it's too much. It's like it's like eating too much candy. For me as well. So it's just using a little bit of it will change that flavor profile drastically.
Gotcha. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. That
So
makes sense.
I mean, I think most brands out there that are using Kentucky Juice are going to find a little bit higher malted barley content in their bourbons, for example. MGP tends to be pretty light. 4% is pretty minimal. So,
Mammoth has a Michigan distillery, 88% rye, 12%, 10% malted barley, 2% caramel malt, I think.
oh well, caramel malt's pretty cool. They must have been brewers at some point in time.
And that, well, their Mammoth is fanatics about rye. Like, I mean,
Ah,
they brought back extinct species of rye to grow
mm.
in Michigan so they could
I
do
mean,
stuff.
that makes sense. It's cold as hell in Michigan in the winter. You gotta, yeah, wheat's
Yeah.
not gonna cut it, right? Um, that's
Jason
awesome.
2.0 has been forced trying to get me to do Far North, so we might do a ride tasting with them as well.
Dude, I mean, heck yeah. I mean, honestly, like I don't know, rye has so much cool stuff. I mean, so does bourbon. They all do. I mean, like unique heirloom corn, rye, oats. Probably the one of the stranger profiles I've ever come across. I'll be honest, it's not. I wouldn't do it, but
So when are we getting a
raw.
Doc Swinson single malt? That's what I want to know.
Oh my God, everybody asked me that question. Never. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I don't know. It's not something high on my list, I'll be totally honest with you. I think okay, so let me lay it out this way. I would like to incorporate it in as like a blend, for example. A Doc Swinson single malt. I don't necessarily I I don't know how to answer this because I'm gonna just shoot myself in the foot here for the future. Because one day I'm sure it'll be like, Jesse, let's develop a single malt. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And totally, I would love it. I know I would have a great time working in that area too. I don't see it in the foreseeable future for our brand. Um, I don't I don't know the exact reasons why at this point. I hate to say it. I like to like maybe stake, put my hat on something here in this realm, but I don't know yet. And I'm still racking my brain about how I should approach American single malts. And I think the main reason why is American single malts for me really have a place and we're really built in the craft distilling world more than anything. And because we're a blending house, I don't feel the same attachment in this way, I guess. Like if Doc Swinson was to build a distillery here in the Pacific Northwest, I would absolutely want to focus on some American single malts. I think the Washington in particular, the Pacific Northwest is perfect for them, not only because of classic climate, but because we have a lot of barley here. We grow a ton of it. We have some of the best um, WSU has some of the best programs for developing new grain varieties here. That's what we're quite known for, as well as like other things like apples and whatnot. We have such a great place for it. I think I'd want to go that direction. But what we're doing now under Doc Swinson's, I don't know if I see a fit yet. And honestly, I haven't found enough of them that I really like.
If you want to do one that would be still docks, is I'd age it in your rye casks.
That would be neat. Yeah, no, that would probably be more authentically docs. Jason, you should just come hang out. Give me some fresh ideas. Um, that would actually be a really good idea. And I just don't feel like I've really put my brain in that space yet to really understand what I think would work well for docs. Maybe that is the right way to look at it. But I haven't really taken the time to do it. And I'm really cautious as a person in general, while still being obviously bold enough to do this. It still really fits in a lot of ruts in the road in some ways, right? Like everything I put out is still a straight bourbon or a straight rye. Even though they have all these complex finishes and stuff on them, they're still in the end a straight bourbon or a straight rye. They still fit category in some way. Um, like they still have to go in finishing casts that were actually used in what they were finished in, or where they came from. A lot of people don't do this stuff. I hate to say it, but like there's a lot of weird things going on in the industry, and I really wanted Doc Swinson to fit a line of tradition to some degree, um, while still being able to manipulate it in a lot of really fun ways. American Single Malt, I just haven't figured it out yet for me. Doesn't mean we won't do it though. Like I said, I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot with all these like random commentary that I'm giving out. Because in the end, in 2 years, we'll do this again, hopefully sooner. And then I'm gonna be like, guys, guess what? We're launching an American single malt. So
Woohoo!
it just takes me time. It just takes me time to figure out what we really want to do here. So
I was just curious, do you have an ungettable get, like your ultimate, I really would love to finish in this type of barrel?
I think Chadwick, did you asked a similar question? Was it Chadwick? One of you guys asked me that question earlier. It was the Amarone cask, I think, was the number one.
Mhm.
Um, But like I said, there's a whole host of other ones I'd like to do. But as far as like, I feel like just the general statement is there an ungettable get, and it's slowly happening. But because we're still quite a small producer compared to even a lot of our competitors out there, in all honesty, there's a group of people out there that still get the best. I feel like I don't know how they get it. It's just the relationships. Maybe it's proximity is a big part of it. Um, they get a wider variety of casts to select from. Like there's some producers out there that have some absolutely like knock it out of the park, amazing cast selections. You don't just get that. Like you have to work for it, and I haven't quite figured out how to work for it. And what I mean is like those really funky rare finds out there that like this is a really odd mash bill, or this is a really like an old age statement that's out there, and there's like six of them or something like that. That's really hard to find. And now I'm very proud of everything we do here at Docs, especially for taking what are, in all honesty, like very good to start with, but like fairly standard whiskeys and manipulate them the way that we do. I think that has made us, it's made me as a blender, I think, learn a lot through this process. To be able to taste each one of these and say, wow, they're based off of four mash bills, and each one tastes so significantly different. That I'm super proud of. But what would be cool, and sometimes I get a little irksome about it, is I'm like, damn, this person like I don't know, just had this 18-year-old bourbon that came out that was just like knock out of the park delicious. And maybe it's the blend they came up, but it's like still the fact that they had access to those 18-year-old barrels from X and X distillery. I'm like, that's like when I feel like you've made it you've made it to a point where you can call somebody and be like, this is it, or they call you or whatever. And I've had that sort of, like the 15-year release back in the day, but things change and people move out of the industry and stuff. And that's been a really tough thing to do.
Give
Not that we
five
need it.
years. They're going to
What's
be
that?
knocking. Give it 5 years, and they're going to be knocking on your door. There's so much overproduction and people going out of business. Give it 5 years.
I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're probably it's probably a liberal statement, honestly. To your point, I mean, I guess to transition into that kind of conversation a little bit it is wild right now. I mean, this whole industry is upside down, left, right, all over the place. Um, it's going to be sad for a lot of people. It's going to be good for others. Um, and it's already starting to happen. And I maybe at some point I should shut off the camera.
Oh, thankfully those technical difficulties have cleared up. Glad everybody stayed on. Jesse, as we were talking about, what were you saying?
I'm happy to be here. Just my super robotic answer there.
What do you think was the favorite pour of the night?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I'm gonna say Muscatel.
This is close. This is close. This is a nice
Ooh.
kind of spread everywhere. All right, the
Hey,
favorite,
that's great, honestly. I love that statement.
yeah. So the favorite pour of the night was Golden Hour.
Ah, okay.
Muscatel
Ah,
being
wow. Okay,
second.
Muscatel's second. All right. I almost said Golden Hour. I'm not even kidding because I know that was, like I said, that was the whole challenge in developing Golden Hour was I wanted to make the most broadly approachable whiskey I have ever made, and I think that is Golden Hour. Seconded would probably be Triple Cask, but you guys are all so experienced in like fun flavors and whiskeys all over. I don't think Triple Cask would quite do it for y'all. And then I thought, yeah, I wanted to give Muscatel that chance because I feel like it was so overshadowed with all my releases. And I'm like, this is actually one of my favorites of all time. And people always dig deep into it. So I'm glad that those are it. That's the
And
whole
Golden
purpose
Hour
was,
will be available and for a long time, so that's good. That's good. It'll be a shelf stable.
yeah. Wait, which one? Golden Hour?
Golden Hour, right? That one's going to be available for a while.
Yeah, it'll be available for a while. I know I still have some pallets in the back still, and that's one I think I'll transition to just making, once a year or once every other year anyways. I want to set up kind of a sequence set of products that like every year I release X amount of this, every other year I release this one, and just kind of roll that. So you all know like, oh, I really love that. It's time for me to like, I want to get another bottle. It's going to come out in whatever, June, for example. Like, okay, I know Doc Simpsons will put this out once a year or something. Uh,
Okay,
so we could be a little more dependable in some ways, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, you know?
for sure. Yeah, because I know our last tasting we did all experimental stuff, which was awesome, which was a lot of fun. This year we did a little more of the okay, here's the stuff that's going to be stuff you can find for sure.
Yeah, and that's like I said, that's session and triple cast for this lineup. Those are going to be the ones you should be able to find anytime. If not, it's just I'll blame it on our distributors. No, um, no, I won't. I won't. It's sometimes me too. Um, but I think it's nice to kind of just know exactly what you can get from us any point in time, and then everything else, yeah, it's just gonna be fun. But I think I would like to do a lineup of them. I'm still creating what ones they're going to be that are just going to be more consistently released, whether that be every year or 2 years.
Awesome. Well, that said, this has been absolutely fantastic. We look forward to having you on again very soon, whenever you're ready. But yeah, are there any questions? This has been absolutely fantastic. I think
Yeah.
we've eaten up your evening plenty.
No, this has been awesome. Like I said, I haven't done one of these in a while, and clearly I'm talking so much that I'm almost running out of air in my lungs, and my cheeks are going to be sore
I
tomorrow.
think what we've learned is 6 pours is not enough when hanging out with you. We need to do 8 next time.
We could do 8. I'm down for that. I'm putting a few more out soon. Next year, I think is going to be a little more, off the chain kind of chaos in a really beautiful way. Because I've been sitting on because the whole market's slowing down a little bit. There's several casts back there, I mean several like types of casts back there that I've just been sitting on longer than I ever anticipated. And my gosh, they're getting gorgeous. Like these are like multi-year finishings layered together. And I think that's going to be really exciting to put out stuff that I've never done before.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and honestly, a lot of that's just because things have slowed down, and it's allowed me to kind of recalibrate some of my direction that I'd like to take this, and then also just allowed me to kind of like not tell anybody I have them, which is one of my favorite things here, by the way, at Doc Swinson is there's only 2 of us here that know all the barrels. It's myself and my assistant Garrett. Nobody else knows, and that's the best part. Steve will always say, I don't know what Jesse's cooking back up there. He's not lying. I don't usually tell him until I'm ready to. And it cracks me up because I'll just pull like a glass out of here, try this. It'd be like middle of the day, we're all at the office, everybody in the office gets a glass. I'm like, just try this thing. And they're like, what the heck is this? I'm like, exactly. I'm not telling you what cast these are yet. Like, do you like it? Do you not? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? How do you feel about it? When would you drink it? Things like that. And who would you share it with is one of my favorite questions. It's like, it's like so stupid game where it's like if you could have lunch with somebody, famous, dead or alive, who would it be? Um, do that next time you hang out with somebody drinking a whiskey. It's hilarious. Um, but I do have quite a few casts back there that are really been here a long time that everybody has forgotten about or I haven't told them about, and I'm excited to release some of those. So,
That's awesome. Are you bringing back the dark blue label, dark blue wax at all?
oh gosh, the relic, the question that
Please say
always
yes.
comes
Please say
back.
yes. Please say yes. Please say yes.
I mean, one day, I'll be fully honest with you. I have zero of that product. Well, that's not true. I have like 40 bottles of that maybe worth, and that's it. I have no more. Um, if it comes across my desk again, so to speak, I would love to bring it back. Um, that was such a unique release from a very wonderful producer that I get to work with. That is not Heaven Hill. You're talking about the 15 year. I just want to clarify that because I have put
Yeah,
the
releases 6 through 10, I believe.
yeah, totally. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I just want to make sure because I've also put two other products under that in the past, like back in the day. All the rare release casks went under the blue wax with the blue label. So I just want to clarify that. But yeah, the 15-year Kentucky straight bourbon blends, each one was a little different, but I'd like to bring back one day. I might have to wait a few years to find my 15-year again.
Fair enough. That said, I just finished the bottle of the 15 year that was given to me it was gifted to me for our first tasting from, gosh, who's the Hawaiian guy from, they used to do tasting with us. Who was it?
Oh God, I see him in my head because he gave me my first 6 year bottle, my release number 6 too.
There we go.
Yeah,
Did,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sharok, or did you see it? This is a number six.
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw. So Jesse, I bought 4 number 6s when I could find
Yeah.
them.
Number
I
six
killed
was the best one of them in all honesty. They're all
100%.
good. This one was total money.
I
The
killed
reason why
three
I
of
said it
them,
right here.
and I
Yeah.
am holding on to the last half of that number 6 because I cannot seem to just finish it. I can't do it, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, if any of you come up here, I'll extend this to everybody. We'll crack this bottle together.
wow.
All good bourbon should be shared with good people. So
100%, 100%.
I might have a couple in the back kind of thing, like we all like scrolling away our whiskeys and stuff. It's kind of funny, like we'll hide them. We're like chipmunks here. We'll do it from each other. It's absolutely hilarious. There are like special bottles, not always our brand, that we find that we all absolutely adore, and we will like scroll them away in various places in our warehouse. And the whole joke is it's like the Smirnoff thing, like you hide an ice, like it's the stupid college thing we used to do. You hide a Smirnoff ice in like the laundry bin and you find it when you're doing your laundry, you have to drink it kind of thing. It's a joke in our office. We do that, but with really nice whiskey. Sometimes it's a 6 year or a number 6, 15 year. Sometimes it's, like one of our favorites is an old Carter that we have laying around that still somehow has existed in our building. And we hide it in the most obscure places. And if any one of us find it, we all have to get together and drink it together.
Oh, that's great.
It's adorable. It's so cute. But I think, yeah, if y'all come up one of these days and you get to try the funky weird stuff that will probably, some of these will never make it out of our tasting room, I think, at this rate. And then,
Should we fly into Vancouver or should we fly into Seattle?
Um, it used to be cheaper sometimes to fly into Vancouver, but I think it might be cheaper to fly into Seattle or Payne Field. If you can get a flight to Payne Field, it might not be cheaper, but my God, it's way nicer. Um, but if you fly into Seattle, we'll talk to Steve. We should do a whole group thing. Um, we want to do this like let's showcase what is cool about this place for people that know our brand and like our brand. Because a lot of people have a question, what do you do here? Like, yeah, you go to Kentucky, what do? You drink whiskey and look at some horses. It's amazing. You have a great time. We're not known for that here, but we're getting better at it. I mean, Washington has some really awesome contenders in the whiskey world. And we think it'd be fun to showcase what has helped build Doc Swinson's. And I was born on an island here in the Puget Sound, and a lot of my palate is built from Pacific Northwest food, right? A lot of it's fairly delicate. And I think that has taken a big role in building Doc Swinson's in a lot of ways. And I think showcasing that and comparing it in ways that are fairly simple, I think, to understand. It's simple. We're like Scotland. This is what they do in Scotland, for example. Doing the same thing here and the why they do it that way is an easy way to connect those dots. So showcasing what makes the Pacific Northwest really amazing and bringing it into whiskey would be a fun tour. So my point is, you should all come up and we should all do something silly like that. Taste a bunch of whiskeys, eat some crab if it's crabbing season, eat some
What is
oyster
crabbing
dip.
season? Come on, talk dirty to me. Let's me and you and Steve jump on a call. I am
Oh
down to
my
make
God.
this happen.
Oh, I love it.
Everyone's invited except Chadwick.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Gooey duck sashimi for all. I feel like not a cool
my
kid.
gosh, gooey ducks.
I only got number 8, not number 6, but I think it's probably going to be good.
Yeah, no, I think all of them were good. All of them were wonderful. Number 6 was just particularly, it was the first one I released. It was particularly magical. It was just the set of whatever, 19 barrels is what I had, or 18 barrels? Yeah, 18 barrels is what I had for that release. That was just that I got to blend together. And I just got like small chunks of them. Like it wasn't like a whole bunch to pick from to make different blends. It was just kind of what I had laying around and what I could manipulate for this blend. And
There
I
it
think they're
is.
all really good. Yeah.
All right. So as I
Number
mentioned,
6, oh my
I
God.
drank the one that God, was it Kyle? No, it wasn't Kyle. That was gifted to us. I just finished it. That said, Jason just messaged me behind the scenes and said he's got an open bottle and he wants to give away 3 ounces of it. So we're gonna run the randomizer. 3 people are gonna get an ounce. There you go. So sharing the amazing juice with you. You all stuck around. Jason,
Yeah.
what's your bottle?
I've got a release 9 and a release 7.
You pick which one. I'm not going back and
The
forth with people.
I know the nine's a little higher proof. We'll do that one.
All right,
If I get picked, you got to click the button again. I have all of them, and so if you come up here, I'll share a lineup of them. How about that?
all right, perfect. All right, then I'll remove you then. Fine.
Yeah, you can take me off of that too, but I have all of them still yet too.
I mean, at this point, we're gonna get back to 3 at this point. All right.
Anacortes, yes. I was literally just there today.
All right, Amanda, congratulations.
Amanda!
Yay for me.
And distribution's easy. She's local. Oh, close.
Woo!
Yay.
Awesome.
Deserves it.
That's awesome. I don't even have to like do it. You ship it. That's awesome.
And nobody can claim you for rigging it because you're not the one who spun it. So there you go, win-win.
John, right on.
And John, congratulations.
Woohoo.
Awesome. Oh, that was easy. It's nice that I put everybody's names in manually.
Oh, I love it. That was grand.
That's awesome.
Like I said, anybody who shows up here, I'll just tell them and I'll crack the bottles too. So, but you got to show up. That's the ticket price.
Okay. We'll make it happen. Yeah, if I could go to the
I'll get up there.
most point of Norway, I can come up to Seattle to Washington.
This will be a lot easier, I guarantee it.
I think so. Probably less snow.
Definitely less snow. Probably none. It never really snows here.
Jane has a
Maybe-
bottle too.
James showing something off.
What do you got there? Ooh, it's a blue label. What is
What
it?
you got, buddy?
Yeah,
Oh, I got-
I got the
That's
pen.
making me sad.
Ah,
10, heck yeah.
Yeah. No, my college roommate lives in Seattle,
Oh, nice. Heck yeah.
and I haven't.
Is that the
I
6?
haven't been up to visit
It's a 6.
for freaking ever.
Well, it looks
Nice.
probably a lot different, honestly. Seattle became
That's-
the other tech city.
That's the last of my 6 right there.
Yeah. I had friends in Bellingham, but I have to figure out if they're actually still there or if they've moved since then. So I'm like, okay. But I'm not afraid of Vancouver either. So
I think honestly, Vancouver's amazing. It's if you're willing to go to Vancouver instead of Seattle, Seattle's great. Don't get me wrong. I think Vancouver's a cooler city. They're both beautiful. Vancouver's smaller and taller, and I really like it's more dramatic looking. That's what I think is cool about it. And they have epic food. Like Seattle's got great food, but you have to like kind of travel places in between to get like it takes a little while. The traffic's way worse. Vancouver, my gosh, it's like being overseas most of the time in East Asia.
Awesome. Wait, did we lose sound? Did I lose sound or did everybody lose sound? Just me. Okay, cool. I just lost sound. Great.
Sense, so.
Hey, Vadim, it was Matt.
Matt Secchi. That's right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Matt, that's right.
My internet connection is like me, unstable. Got it. All right, that's what happened. That's how I lost sound.
I get that message all the time. Don't worry about it.
No, but just so you're right, my aunt and uncle are professors at University of British Columbia and have
Oh,
been
yeah.
since like the 80s. So I've been going there forever, Great, great, great food town.
Such good food. Like Seattle's a little tougher, I feel like, to find great. I mean, there's great food, but Vancouver's where it's at. There's the coolest things there, and it's faster, honestly, going across the border to get to our location right here. As long as you don't hit it on a weird day that there's awful traffic. It's like a 40-minute drive max from the airport. If you let us know in advance, like I'll come pick you up. Like not a problem.
Well, I also have this theory of the West Coast that like the further north you go, starting from San Diego to Seattle, it's like it's a little bit more educated, more literate, and the more you hate the people south of you. So it's like San Diego to LA, and then San Francisco hates LA, and then Oregon hates all of California.
Yeah.
Washington's over, but then Vancouver like starts over. Like, what's up, guys? Like, we're good. Like, we don't hate you. Like, it's still very literate, very educated, but like, don't hate on it.
That's hilarious. It's a cool place. If you haven't been Vancouver, I would choose that over Seattle, honestly. Go there.
I got a ticket in college for going 67 and 65 outside Portland because I had California license plates.
Sorry, say that again?
Going 67 and a 65, and I got a ticket, and the
Oh, yeah,
cop
yeah,
said,
yeah.
that's what you get for having California license plates. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
bro.
Hey, that's true in
It's
every
a
state.
speed trap.
That's true in every state if you got California plates.
That's true.
Yeah, Washington too, I'll be honest. So
That's what I'm saying. It's like
gotta
the
tell
further
you,
you
I
are, the
can
more you
ride
hate.
that fast in Iowa with a California plate and nobody says boo.
That's true.
Hey, I've been kind of quiet today, but Jesse, I just wanted to take the minute to say every year this is one of the best tastings of the year. It's always a pleasure having you here, especially having you, with good internet access versus being on a stationary bike in New Orleans and getting all kinds of awards. But man, just awesome. Had a great time. And you take the time that you put into this and just being real and hanging out and sharing all of the process. I mean, talking like 164 barrels and going through each and every one. It makes us all.
Oh, that's
oh,
unstable.
wait, Shane.
You got muted, Shane.
Jane, you're muted.
Oh man, it cut off. Sorry, I don't know why that happened, but is it? Hopefully, it's back on. But
Yeah.
I was just saying, hey man, you're everything that you do here, sharing like when you went through 164 barrels and all that kind of stuff. Just fun, man. We love it, and it makes us want to support you even more, in the future. And I mean, love the product, but who you are, what you bring to the table, and sharing with us has just been awesome.
Thank you, Shane. Seriously, and like you guys are all wonderful. I mean, seriously, like that's where I mean that's where brands like us really, could stick around is people such as yourself that are willing to talk about it. That's the sales pitch, in all honesty. We do not have hundreds of millions of dollars poured into marketing. We have maybe like 10 grand a year checked in Doc Swinson marketing or something like that. Maybe we're idiots. Maybe totally true. But I think we make a damn good whiskey, and we want to showcase that with people. And I mean, this is obviously evidence, and it's people like yourselves that are willing to like, be curious about what else is out there and like try stuff, and then things that you really like, sharing that with your friends. Doc Swinson's, other brands, whatever. Just showcasing that makes this world honestly a much better place. Otherwise, we're going to go back to what it was like, like 20 years ago or something like that, or 15 years ago, which I wasn't legally allowed to drink. But when there's like, like 8 bottles on the shelf, we might not need 400, but we certainly don't want 8. Like that is a bad plan. Um, so thank you guys. Really appreciate it. And Vadim, thank you for always, like making sure Steve and I actually get back to you and be like, come on, dude, what's going on? Um, which we
Yeah,
love.
I was shocked that Steve let you take a vacation. He said you were out of town for a little bit. Like, what is this?
I recharged my palate. I left for a month. No, my partner's family is from Poland, so I was overseas. Eating far too much cold cuts, tomatoes, pickles, and vodka.
That
So
sounds lovely. That sounds lovely.
Well, if you put that all together, it's a Bloody Mary. So there's
honestly, it's delicious. I was so stoked. And having not my grandmother take care of everything, which was the strangest experience in my life. But yeah, no. No, I disappeared for a while, and I also went through Scotland, and I was going back through a bunch of distilleries and stuff that I've worked with, and that was a really fun part of the trip. So there was still work involved in this, which was great. Um,
Oh, you got to do a little bit of work, so the whole trip was a work trip.
that's
That's
right.
what CPA told me.
Right. It's mine's like, no, you're paying for your own thing, dude. No, I disappeared for a bit, which was good. Honestly, we finally got to that point, I think, in a company where I can disappear for a little bit and it doesn't feel like there's a fire. So, which is good. Once again, we're only 9 people that literally run the entire thing. 9 is including our bottling team at this point. So, and tasting room manager. So we're pretty small.
Although it sounds like you're going to be 10 soon because Jason's going to be coming over. So
Yep. Yep. We got a spot for you, bud.
there you go. He'll be the one that makes everybody's dream come true, right? If he can do it, we can all do it.
Yes, yes. Just prepare your livers.
We've been pickling them for years.
Yeah, you've all been. I'm sure you'll all be perfectly ready for this thing. Honestly, it'd be really fun to do. I don't know. Do any of you blend at home?
Yes.
Good. I hope all of you do it somewhere. I've tried it at least. Whether you continue to is a different story. But yeah, tried it. I think one of my favorite things to do, and I've done this once with a fellow group of whiskey nerds like yourselves, is doing a blend where we all just create like a blend, different blends together, or individually, and then improve them somehow together. Because honestly, it's one of the best ways to learn from each other. It's just bring things or like either bring them or we'll just develop them with the barrels we have here, and that could be a really fun thing to do together in a different dream of mine. So, whether it
I'm
happens.
game. You tell me the experiential thing you want to put together. I'm always down for that.
Yeah, just go through a bunch of casts, drink the first full day. What we'll do, no, that's it. That's what we'll have to do. We'll have a chat with Steve. We'll have to get together. We'll do some fun, silly stuff up here that incorporate the Pacific Northwest and what's beautiful about this place. If you don't like oysters,
Bad.
you're gonna get too damn bad. Yeah, exactly. Too damn bad. You're gonna learn to love them. We could try all the barrels and come up with some cool things together. I don't know, that's always fun. Yes, shut up, Lever, you're fine. Jane got it right. That's
I'm in. Let's do this.
I'm in.
yeah, summer, August. August is the only trustworthy month in all of the Pacific Northwest.
Gives me a year to plan. This is perfect.
Unless you want coffee.
Next year is in.
August is a good time.
I can.
GPS will invade.
We have relationships up there with a few other distilleries that can chip in, and
Totally.
yeah,
Honestly, if you could make make a circuit of it, that would be the best thing. Like, yeah, whoever it is, oh my gosh, do a whole gamut of it, and then I don't
I've
know.
got at least 2 in mind. One of which has a Michelin starred restaurant, so I'm in.
Yeah, you should
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm into.
I
I
got
can
a,
make it work. I can make a work trip to Bremerton and make it a whole thing. I'm good.
I got a
Sick.
6 week sabbatical next summer. So if you make it the first 2 weeks of August, I already have that off.
You already
do
have
it.
it off.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
say let's do it.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Vadim,
We're all in.
we're gonna schedule another meeting to talk about this, and Steve's gonna be like, Jesse, what the hell are you doing? No, he would love to do this. He's been wanting to do this even more than me. So,
We'll be the guinea pigs for the Doc Swinson's amazing tour of wonders.
oh my gosh, I love it. That's actually what we should call it, to be honest. It fits so perfectly with our branding, anyways.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I like it.
Everyone who's invited will receive a package with like a chocolate bar inside, and there's a golden ticket on the chocolate bar.
Yes.
The whole thing.
100%. I've always wanted to do a golden ticket thing in our bottles at some point in time. Like,
Yeah, not a chocolate bar. They get a Doc Swinson's, and there's a golden ticket underneath the label.
gonna be like, oh yeah, it's great. I always wanted to do it under the wax, like under the
Mm.
yeah, like the cork, like the shank is like golden or something like that.
We'll figure it out. We
Dude, yeah,
got
I love it. No, it'd
six
be
months
sick.
to plan it.
Yeah, I'd be like, what? I see the golden lining. Uh, I love it. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for being here tonight and reinvigorating my passion to show up on Zoom calls, which I haven't done in a long time. So this is grand.
Not
Uh,
all Zoom calls are made the same, just like not all whiskey is the same, but this
yeah.
has been a lot of fun.
Hey,
Yeah.
I know it's not
Thanks,
7 hours, but that's because maybe we're slightly adulting now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the Doc Swinsons are always one of our favorites, even if no one's sitting on the floor eating chicken and a biscuit.
Sorry, I know Steve was, trust me, he was so bummed too. Like he's been having like a go of it lately. He's been traveling a lot. I mean, I literally walked in the office today and I'm like, dude, you should go home and go to bed, man.
Tell
And
him he was missed. We missed him.
he knows. He literally texted me at 6:59 today and was like, I'm so sorry, man. I was gonna do it from home and all this stuff. And he's like, I need to go to bed. I'm like, you should just go to bed today.
We've all had days like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, when we all make this a thing and y'all come up, he will not be going to bed. So-
We're gonna come up and bring chicken and biscuits. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh my gosh, honestly, that's it. Chicken and biscuit. It's still one of our favorite tasting pairings. That and those of you who do you guys get Tim's in California? Tim's chips in California? Is that a thing? Probably not. I
Get
think
them
it's a
really liquid
Cascade.
them.
It's like mostly a Northwest thing. Tim's jalapeno chips might be the best fry I've ever had with our Solera rum or rye finished rum.
Really
It
spicy
is
whiskey.
so magical, which actually was the inspiration. Here's a funny other thing. That was the inspiration to make Tres Amigos, which is the tequila finished Solera method.
Because you were getting the jalapeno note from the tequila.
Yeah, yeah, it was jalapeno. Really, to me, it tastes like roasted hatch chilies, so more like green pepper kind of profile.
Mhm.
But a lot of people do claim the jalapeno profile. And I was like, yeah, this is literally wise. I tasted it with Tim's jalapeno chips. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is magical. How do we incorporate this? And that's where the tequila profile came from, the Añejo tequila profile.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to next time seeing you in person, but we'll definitely keep doing these virtual ones. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse.
Cheers, y'all. Thanks so much. Have a good night, all right?
Good night.
Good night.